everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins, and this is my good buddy Brandon, and this is our YouTube channel. If you're finding this for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. And this is, of course, our weekly pro wrestling recap show where we go over all the major shows in WWE and AEW. We did our review for AEW All Out, which included last week's episode of Rampage. So if you've not yet checked out our review of that fantastic pay-per-view, by all means, go check that out here right now on the channel. But for tonight and the show that we're dropping here on Thursday morning, we're going to review the rest of the shows we didn't get to. That is, of course, Smackdown, Raw, NXT, and AEW Dynamite for tonight. So because we got 4 big shows to get into, let's get into it without any further ado here. Smackdown, as the first show we're going to start out with here, opened up with a recap of Finn Balor returning last week and challenging Roman Reigns to a title match after he was unceremoniously screwed by John Cena. Very heel-like tactic by John Cena, taking the title shot from Finn Balor here. A title shot that I didn't necessarily think Finn Balor really had earned personally myself anyway. But he is apparently going to be getting a rematch, or at least a title shot here tonight. Not necessarily a rematch, but Michael Cole and Corey Graves are the commentators for the show. They know that Pat McAfee is doing better because he does have COVID. And apparently, I guess he posted something on his social media that he is now negative for COVID. So that's good. So it sounds like Pat McAfee's on the mend. And probably will be returning next week at Madison Square Garden for their big SmackDown show. So with that being said, the show opened up with the Usos and the Street Profits. It was a fine opening segment. The Usos come out for a promo, and they made their way to the ring, and Jimmy wondered why the Street Profits got involved in their family business last week. Jay noted they disrespected the family at the head of the table. That's when the Street Profits interrupted to a very big reaction. They mocked the Usos and noted they embarrassed them in front of the head of the table. Angelo Dawkins wondered if the Usos got a permission slip from Reigns to be out there. Then they showed Reigns watching in the back, and the fans erupted in boos. So this set up a match between... It was a championship contenders match, which you know how I hate that term. Not only that, because many times we get championship contenders matches and we don't actually get any follow-through, which we'll get into here in a little bit when it comes to the women's tag titles. But the Street Profits then defeated the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, via disqualification here, which was weird because this match basically boiled down to the guys were brawling on the outside, and I believe... Jimmy Uso threw Ford into the ring post twice. Suddenly, the referee just called for the disqualification. I guess because Michael Cole explained on commentary he lost control of the match. That was it. I mean, they really didn't do anything illegal. They were just beating the crap out of each other. So it just kind of came off as a little wonky for a DQ, in my opinion. But anyway, that's the way they decided to book it. I guess we were going to have to continue this feud and get it again later.
DQs for weirder shit.
Yeah, that's for sure. So after the match, the Usos jumped Dawkins at ringside and beat him down. Ford then hit a scary-looking dive onto the Usos and wiped them out. Ford seemed to almost land on his head, but got back to his feet. Dawkins and Ford jumped onto the announce table and celebrated as this segment ended. So I guess this must continue. Probably at Extreme Rules, we'll probably get the clean finish, one way or the other, hopefully. Yeah. But it was just kind of weird the way it ended in a DQ like this. I was just like, that was kind of random, just out of nowhere.
I mean, but I'm glad the ref, in a sense, took charge and realized that he has no control over this, because most refs would just stood back and just let the chaos continue and try to have a regular match out of it. And when it's like, you clearly have no control of what's going on here. So at least he was being pragmatic in that sense, and it made sense for him to be like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. No match at all.
Like, no match for you.
It's like that, I'll turn this car around.
It's like the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. No match for you. So I mean, okay, sure. I mean,
in this aspect, it's like, fine. Nobody wants to listen. We're all going home.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'll turn this car home right now. No one gets to wrestle. That works for me, I guess. It was just weird. When I was watching, I was just like, what the? Okay, cool. Whatever. Moving on. But in the back, we saw Roman Reigns. He told Paul Heyman, bring me my cousins. So Heyman left the locker room and ran into Caleb Braxton on the way out. This is weird because why Paul Heyman does not have his phone on vibrate here is odd to me, because he was talking to Caleb Braxton and she started asking him questions when his phone started to ring, but the ringtone was Brock Lesnar's theme music, which is like, okay, if you know you're going to be in the room with Roman And maybe now granted, he does mention here that Brock hasn't called him in over a year, so maybe he didn't expect him to call. Okay, I'll give you that. But it was a little weird that this ringtone was Brock Lesnar's theme music here. Heyman ignored the first call, but Braxton pointed out his phone was ringing again the second time. Heyman finally answered the phone and promised to deliver a message for whoever was on the other end of the line. Obviously, it was Brock. Heyman then ran into Big E, dressed as a janitor, holding his Money in the Bank briefcase, and he was cackling like the Joker. Like, I was like, what the hell are you doing, Big E? But anyway, it kind of, sure. He laughed at Paul. They announced matches for Raw on Monday, including Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax, which we'll be getting into here in a little bit. So yeah, I guess he's got a message for Roman, so we'll get into that here in a little while. We had Becky Lynch and a Bianca Belair segment. This was actually a pretty good segment between the two. Becky Lynch was actually more of a heel in this segment, but the fans still cheered the crap out of both of these women here. They're not going to boo either one, I don't think, at this point. So trying to turn Becky heel, even whether it might be at her request or not, I just don't think is going to work.
Look, I get what you're saying, but there's a clear narrative here. Whether or not the crowd participates in that narrative, that's neither here nor there. You can't call them. It is what it is.
I agree with that. The story they're telling is one thing, but there's a thing with me with WWE is they won't respond to their fans regardless of what they ask for.
Yeah, but in the same sense, if she's doing everything she can, they just can't turn her face and then expect the crowd to then turn on. To switch the roles around between the two, like that's not going to happen. It would make no sense for that to happen. Yeah. Becky came in and did a heel thing, but since the crowd is responding to her the way the crowd wants to respond, it doesn't matter. Like,
no matter what they were going to do here,
she could probably come out and punch Bianca Belair dead in the face for no fucking reason, turn around and leave, kick a puppy on her way out, and they're still going to cheer. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
because.
It's kind of like when Stone Cold tried to go heel. He was going to get cheered. I wouldn't compare Becky to Stone Cold per se, but
it is what it is. And this is the story they're telling. And like at this point, it's not even about the crowd buying into it. The crowd, we know, at times will just hijack a show for the sake of fucking hijacking a show. So it doesn't matter.
Sure. But, to your point, you're absolutely correct. I just know I would like to see WWE at least listen to their fans a little bit. But I'm not saying that they have to do everything they ask for. I'm not, because
but here's
you're right.
Like, what do you – like, again, we can't – it's hard to deviate from something like, okay, this is the setup. This is why she did this. This is the clear path that she's on. You still – and then you have this super powerful babyface in Bianca Belair. You can't just go, okay, fine, the crowd wants to cheer Becky Lynch, just make her a face. Because then everything you've done to this point makes no fucking sense, and it's just there now. So, like, you have to drive your narrative because this is a story that needs to be told. And like I said, the crowd at this point is just like, it doesn't matter, it's Becky Lynch.
I just feel...
Stone Cold, like...
Yeah.
You're not going to boo him even though, you remember the times that he's in the back singing Kumbaya, and people hated it, but they loved it at the same time.
It's just one of those deals where, like, I understand Becky apparently requested to be a heel. But I think it's one of those things as a pro wrestling company, you also have, I know they don't call themselves that, but when she requests that, you've got to be smart enough to understand that that's not going to work from the jump. Like, when she come back...
I'm sure they knew.
They went away with it anyway?
Adam Cole. Like... He gets cheered, and he's clearly a fucking heel.
Yeah, good point. That's a very good point. So, yeah, I guess it is what it is, I suppose. Becky Lynch made her way to the ring. They recapped Belair winning the fatal 4-way elimination match last week to win the next title shot, even though we saw her lose in 20-some seconds. But Becky Lynch got a very huge reaction, as we mentioned. The fans broke out into a loud Becky chant. Lynch noted that she returned last week but did not get any "You Deserve It" chants. The fans then briefly broke into a "You Deserve It" chant, which made her very happy. So heelish, where were you guys last week? You didn't chant it last week, so here we are. Lynch noted the entire locker room interrupted her last week, but she didn't get a chance to address Belair. The fans gave Belair a mixed reaction when she walked out, I guess, here. Lynch noted the higher-ups called her when Sasha Banks went down, and she saved Belair's SummerSlam match. She claimed that Belair doesn't get to complain about Lynch beating her so fast. The fans cheered for that, so I guess they're behind Becky beating her so fast anyway. Belair's music hit. She made her way to the ring to a good reaction. On commentary, Cole pointed out that Belair hasn't complained about losing the title quickly. The fans broke into a loud EST chant. Belair noted that she still thinks about losing the title in 26 seconds. She admits it was embarrassing and she still hurts from it. Belair's not making excuses and noted she wouldn't tear down another person to build herself up. Belair promised to win the title back and she'll be the greatest. Belair pointed out that Lynch wouldn't give her a rematch, so she went out and earned a title shot. She noted the Roman Reigns is defending his title tonight, so she challenged Lynch to a match tonight too. The fans broke into a loud EST chant. Lynch thought about it for a minute, but turned down Belair's challenge, and the fans booed as Lynch walked off. So they're trying to turn Becky against the crowd, at least. I'll give them credit for that. This feels kind of a little bit like what they're doing on Monday Night Raw with Bobby Lashley and MVP. They clearly lost a title match against the current champions, but they're earning another shot. At least it's not straight up giving them a flat-out rematch for no reason at all. Mm-hmm. But why are we beating one thing and then that person does not go immediately to the back of the line? And, someone else gets an opportunity, though. We're still booking rematches. I'll give them a little credit for at least trying to say, okay, Belair won the Fatal 4-Way, or on Raw, Bobby and MVP win a tag team turmoil to get a rematch. But it just feels like we're kind of spinning in circles a little bit. Is it just me a little bit there?
I think so, because it's not like she's just getting handed this. She won a match in order to get this.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, they really don't have any other contenders anyway.
Yeah.
In this women's division, same as the tag. But it's just kind of odd. I'd like to see a little more long term instead of just like, oh, all right, we're right back to where we were 2 weeks ago. That's all. I mean, maybe it's just me in that regard, but all things considered, this segment was good. I'll give them that. Mm-hmm. In the back, we had Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode were walking to the ring. Ziggler saw Toni Storm. Finally, we get Toni Storm back on SmackDown, so I'm glad that she's been found and she's okay. She's randomly standing by some sort of table. Dolph Ziggler welcomed Storm to SmackDown and wondered if she's going to watch his match. He's hitting on her here, basically, and she's kind of having none of it. Storm admitted she plans on watching, but she's rooting for Rick Boogs instead, so deep burn there, Dolph. I don't think you got a chance, buddy, so move along. Rick Boogs then defeated... Not
against the Boogs, are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I know. Rick Boogs then defeated Dolph Ziggler in a minute and a half, so very short and sweet. What wasn't much of a match. They kept it real short. They didn't get time to build a match and only did a few moves here. Ziggler went for a super kick, but Boogs caught the leg and hit the pump handle slam for the win. So short, sweet, to the point, and Dolph Ziggler... you are where you are, buddy. Hope you like it there. That's all that matters.
That's all he's ever going to be. Like, let's be honest. Dolph Ziggler hasn't been popping since
he won the world title 7 years ago, something like that. I don't know. It's been a long while. He's kind of like a lot of these guys. They'll catch fire for maybe a year and then back to obscurity. They
fall off into obscurity.
Yeah, ask Kevin Owens.
And that's like, but that has, I can guarantee you, his position has a lot to do with crowd response. Nobody gets into Dolph like that anymore.
To me, I get the argument that Dolph is very talented. He is. I just feel like, for one, he's not changed. He or they, whoever is in control of this creative here, has not changed his character in ever. And not only that, he's a Shawn Michaels 2.0 ripoff. Is what he is what they've booked him as. So to me, it's hard for me to get behind the guy when they've really not done much with him since the Big E, AJ Lee stuff, where they were with him or whatnot. Yeah. I mean, that was probably his best stuff. Ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. It's like, since then, okay, he's had this tag partner, that tag partner, or whatever it might be. It's just kind of like, all right, what are we doing? He's just there at this point. And it's sad to see because he is talented, and I would like to see more out of the guy. Much like a John Morrison. I'd like to see more out of Dolph, but they just don't ever do anything with the guy, so it's sad to see. But at least he's helping Rick Boogs here, and even though this seems like a match we've seen for 3 or 4 weeks now in a row. I mean, whether it's some sort of version of this, either Rick Boogs versus Dolph or the tag team match with Nakamura and Rude, we've seen this week in, week out, much like the Dominic Mysterio and Sami Zayn stuff, which we're going to get into here again here in a little bit. In the back, Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce approached Becky Lynch. Deville announced that Lynch will defend her title against Bianca Belair at Extreme Rules. Pearce then informed Lynch that their contract signing will be next week at Madison Square Garden. So I'll give credit to WWE here on the SmackDown show next week. And next week's big rebranding of NXT. They seem to be stacking those shows up with some interesting matches at least. So I'm glad to see that. Raw is another question. And we'll get into that here in a little while. Cesaro, speaking of rematches, Cesaro defeated Seth Rollins via DQ. So here we are on this show, and we've already got 2 disqualifications in 9.5 minutes. Rollins went for a sling blade, but Cesaro caught Rollins in a giant swing. Cesaro transitioned into a sharpshooter, but Rollins made it to the ropes. Rollins rolled to the floor. Cesaro went for an uppercut on the floor, but Rollins blocked it with a chair for the disqualification. So, it's just kind of like hard to invest when it's always ending in some sort of screwy finish. Again, it's not to say you can't do a DQ or you can't do a count out.
But you can't make a habit of it.
It's almost every match almost. I mean, there's a few that are clean, but in this case, oh my gosh. So Rollins grabbed another chair after the DQ and set up for the concerto. Edge's music hit, and he ran out for the save. Edge got a massive reaction from the fans, as he should. Edge is awesome. And the fans broke into a loud Edge chant. Rollins escaped through the crowd, so this feud must continue as we are going to be getting Edge versus Seth Rollins again next Friday night on SmackDown from Madison Square Garden. So at least it's a big match, but again, a rematch we just saw at the pay-per-view, but at least these guys can put on a good match. So there's that. So that's a positive. In the back, we had Roman Reigns and the Usos went over their game plan. Paul Heyman approached and informed Reigns that they have a problem. Reigns isn't worried about Finn Balor. Heyman said, it's not Finn Balor. We have a Brock Lesnar problem. He told Reigns that Lesnar called him and is going to be in New York next week in Madison Square Garden. So now let's hope they follow through this time. They're advertising him now. So last time they did that, they didn't follow through. Heyman mentioned that Lesnar's watching Fox in Saskatchewan, and Reigns wondered how Heyman would know that Lesnar's in Saskatchewan. Heyman said he doesn't know. He could be in Minnesota. Reigns wondered if Lesnar's here at the arena tonight. So they tried to tease, stick around. He could show up by the end of the show. Spoiler alert, he didn't show up by the end of the show. But they were trying to get their fans to stay invested. So I'll give him credit for that, I suppose. Happy Corbin arrived at the arena and mistook Mackenzie Mitchell backstage for a valet. He tossed his keys to her and asked her to park the car, not to scratch it, so that was kind of funny. Back from the break, Caleb Braxton approached Edge. Edge knows the game that Seth Rollins is playing, but it's not going to stop, he said. Edge then challenged Rollins to a match next week, so we're going to get that on SmackDown. Then we had the KO show. This was actually fun because of Happy Corbin. Not fun because Logan Paul shows up in this segment. Logan Paul makes a surprise appearance and was a total heel during this. Obviously, he was getting booed much like he was on Raw a few weeks ago. So nobody wants to see Logan Paul on our wrestling show. It's just the way it is at this point. But WWE's trying to make this work. Kevin Owens wasted no time and introduced his guest, Happy Corbin. Corbin thanked Owens for his recent string of good luck. Corbin announced that he has a special guest and introduced Logan Paul to the Thunderous Boost. He thanked Owens because Owens initially gave him a little money and he turned that money into the money he has now. So that's at least they're playing off that. So kudos there. Logan Paul then thanks Kevin Owens for having him as a guest on his show, even though Owens never invited him. Corbin claimed they have a lot in common. Paul agreed and noted they hung out after his brother Jake Paul beat Tyrone Woodley. So once again, got to kind of say, hey, we're popular in the mainstream and we are, at least affiliated with this Jake Paul fight, which got all this attention. That's WWE for you. The fans interrupted and boos again. Owens mocked Paul and Corbin. Paul then offered Kevin Owens some money and made fun of his appearance. Owens didn't want his money and told Paul to leave and never come back. Paul got in Kevin Owens' face and shoved him, so Kevin Owens pushed back and they squared off. Owens charged at Logan Paul, but Happy Corbin hit him with the microphone as Logan Paul laughed and Corbin gave Owens a choke slam to end this segment. So, are we getting a Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens, or is this just going to be Happy Corbin versus Owens? With all the reports that came out the last few days about Kevin Owens' contract possibly coming to an end here at the end of January in 2022, whether or not Kevin Owens could also become the newest member of All Elite Wrestling. We'll have to wait and see about all of that. But he's made some references on his social media. He has since deleted those references, posting coordinates to Mount Rushmore. Apparently, that was a name of one of the PWG factions he had with the Young Bucks and I believe it was Adam Cole. So he's definitely teasing that fact, regardless whether he deleted those social media posts or not. So it sounds like that could be where they're going here. And if that's the case, I hope, and I'm sure WWE will beat Kevin Owens on the way out. That's just kind of what they do. I don't want to see him take a loss to Logan Paul, all things considered here. But we'll have to see what they do. But I'm not going to lie, though. The Happy Corbin stuff, I'm kind of getting into it a little bit. It's kind of as stupid and cheesy as it is, and I've criticized WWE with some of their comedy, but something about this gimmick with Corbin, I don't know if it's because it's different, and I've seen the same Baron Corbin for years, much like I have Dolph Ziggler. Yeah. Maybe it's just the change and the stuff he's done on his social media when it comes to the stuff and when he's winning in Vegas. That's been great. I wish WWE would show all that stuff on their main show. Instead of us just seeing it on our, because not everybody follows the social media stuff on it. Now, I know they got a lot of following on social media, don't get me wrong, but people who only watch SmackDown would not see this stuff. But otherwise, I think the Happy Corbin stuff so far has at least been entertaining. We'll see if they run it into the ground. Let's hope not. But right now, it kind of makes me chuckle, so that's a good thing. Any thoughts on that, or have you been seeing any of the Happy Corbin stuff?
No, but here's the thing. Like, I know you have this thing with, guys losing on the way out.
Well, it's not so much that. It's going to be Logan Paul is my fear.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
As shitty as that sounds, that's what happens.
Yeah. That's when you leave an old territory. That's the old tradition. That's why I don't have a problem with that.
But to Logan Paul, though, yeah, I see that. Like, Logan Paul's not a wrestler. There should be no reason why Kevin Owens loses to Logan Paul.
If it's Happy Corbin, that's one thing. But again, Owens ain't leaving for another 4 months at the earliest. So, I mean, that's maybe a little premature. But
and they don't want to lose Owens, they wouldn't do any of this shit.
Yeah, you would think. Maybe, a lot of times WWE, if they're trying to keep somebody, they'll try to give them a title or something like that to kind of coerce them to stay. Even though right now it seems like having a championship belt doesn't mean anything, because usually that means you lose all the time. Unless your name's Roman Reigns and occasionally Bobby Lashley. But Lashley kind of looked like a total geek by the end of Raw, which we'll get into here in a minute. But I mean, it's not so much that they lose on the way out. I think that's the right thing to do. I mean, Adam Cole did it for Kyle O'Reilly. No problem with that whatsoever. It's on how you do it. I just don't want them to bury and disrespect Kevin Owens on the way out, because I think that's terrible. And the other rumor going around, we don't know the exact date, but the other rumor right now is that Sami Zayn's contract could also be coming up, possibly even sooner than Kevin Owens. If that's the case, he may be out of that. Yeah, it could be this fall at some point, from what I hear. Now, I'm not sure. No one knows the exact date like they do Kevin's, but interesting thing to keep an eye on there. See what they maybe do with Sami Zayn. Speaking of which, before we get to that,
sorry, I'm not being a jerk. I have
You're fine, dude.
I have children stuff to deal with right now, and I'm trying to do all this without being.
He's multitasking, ladies and gentlemen. So it's all good. I'll cover for you. It's all good. They showed Carmella backstage, and they introduced her as the most beautiful woman in WWE. They've got this fan and the slow mo. She's just posing for the camera. Nothing important here. They're just trying to show off how beautiful she is, and she's very beautiful. Don't get me wrong here, but they showed how ridiculous this was, because they panned back and Liv Morgan standing there just like, what the hell are you doing? So it was really weird, but at least Liv Morgan got a little FaceTime here, so that's good to see. But this Carmella stuff, they need to change it up. It's just kind of got this old diva mentality to it, and we don't need that. It's not this whole women evolution thing was supposed to be a thing,
Yeah.
But anyhow,
I see that, and that's the thing that bothers me. Like,
they've regressed.
I'm gonna step on my soapbox here for a second.
Go for it.
I went through the whole diva phase, or so did you. And during that phase, they had maybe two at the time. There's some that came a little bit later on, but there's only two women that was really good, and that was Trish Stratus and Lita. Like, hands down to the top. During the
diva, why? They let them wrestle.
Yeah. And then
boom.
Fast forward, NXT. This is before NXT is what we knew as NXT. Anyway, and it kind of spoiled us, because then we got to see that women's revolution match,
which can be amazing.
And it was like, yo, this is dope. And there were so many talented women, and then you had Asuka show up,
The four horsewomen were great in
Charlotte
NXT.
Flair. Yeah. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it was like this thing of like, yo, these women can go. Hell, one of my favorite matches still, women's matches still for me is TakeOver Brooklyn. Sasha Banks
and Bayley. Yeah.
Fucking
barn burner.
Killed it, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it would rival the best men's matches you've ever seen. I mean, it was
hands
great.
Down.
And that's not any knock on the women to compare them to the men. It's just it was that good to watch. It was absolutely insane and incredible. So yeah, it could have made an event at WrestleMania, that match.
Yeah, and now like it's so sad because like you'll get glimpses of that shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, we totally regressed through bikini matches and
yeah, we ain't there yet, thank God.
Yeah,
but don't be wrong. As a teenager in high school, I loved that stuff.
Yeah, well, I was there for it all, buddy.
But I would rather see them wrestle instead of be subjugated to that, especially in today's society, which is it would be pretty well. It was kind of frowned upon then, but yeah.
But now, like, you don't get. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same feel as it was then. Because now you have these talented girls, but then they ain't doing shit. And they have these weird, gimmicks now. Mm-hmm. Hell, the whole thing with Piper. It's just so weird to me. And then, hell, even Alexa. Like, I get it in a sense with Alexa, but then it's like they take it to the extreme to where it's just comical. And it's like, all right, you're killing me here.
Yeah, hell, I can't wait for that match.
Shayna Baszler, a legit 100% badass.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And now she has not won a match since January. I don't know if you're aware of that.
So for me, it's just, at times it's like it's sad and it's hard because if I'm going to be honest, WWE has legitimately one of the best women's divisions out there.
They do.
But you don't get to see it unless it's these rare and weird sporadic moments.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Where's Asuka, by the way?
Yeah. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, they don't let them do it much. That's the thing. It's like,
and I think the thing with Asuka maybe she might be back home.
Maybe
she might be stuck over there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt there due to the circumstances going on in the world. But at the same time, let us know. Hey, she's not around. It just disappeared, and no explanation that I ever heard. I mean, maybe I missed it, but if that's the case, it's like Kofi Kingston disappeared for weeks. Thank God he was back this week. Kind of like Tony Storm, just randomly.
I think he had some personal issues, but
maybe so. But you don't have to tell us what it is. Just say he's going to be gone for a few weeks. He'll be back.
Yeah, you could have Xavier just say something about it. You know what I mean? Like,
and as far as I know, they didn't say anything. Now,
I don't think they did.
If they did, I totally missed it. But, and I get it. If they say it once, I guess you don't have to say it again. And so maybe if I missed it, I apologize. But it just feels like sometimes people just randomly. Randy Orton still hasn't told us where he was for 7 weeks, and now he's in the title picture. It's like, all of a sudden now, he was gone for 2 months and now he's just in the world championship. What about those guys who were there those 2 months? It's like, it feels weird just to have him automatically because he's Randy Orton. And I get it. Randy Orton versus Bobby Lashley is a match you could sell, but you got to make more narrative sense and just be like, oh, here he is. So, but we'll see what they do. We'll get to Raw here in a minute. But speaking of Sami Zayn, though, a while ago, he defeated Dominic Mysterio up next in 2 minutes. It was a fun match while it lasted here, but Rey Mysterio came out during the match, and he chased Zayn back to ringside as Zayn tried to walk out of the match. The referee leaned out between the ropes and tried to get Zayn back in the ring. Dominic then hit a dive jump over the referee onto Zayn, very Rey Mysterio-like. Dominic then threw Zayn back in the ring, but Zayn hit a haluva kick when he was getting back into the ring as he was trying to tell Rey to go away, and so Zayn took advantage and got the win here. So Dominic and Rey still got that tension between them here. Yeah,
I want to see it. Like, I legitimately want to see it.
Yeah, I don't know how soon, but it looks like Dominic's headed for a heel turn, most likely, in my opinion. So yeah, that's coming down the road. I don't know if it'd be Extreme Rules or
have him turn on his dad. That'd be killer.
It would definitely get him over a bit. Maybe not. Fans may not love him for it, but you know what I'm saying? It'll get him some attention.
That's the point, though. You're not supposed to love him after that. Like, you're taking Rey Mysterio, fucking Rey Mysterio, and your son, and he turns it after what Rey went through with Eddie for you, and you just turn your back on him like that, brother.
If Dominic comes out at some point and is like berating his dad and said, "I wish Eddie was my poppy," I'll lose it. I mean, that'll be great. Now, I don't know if they're going to do that, but, I mean, it would be one of those things that I think it'll help Dominic's character. I'm not going to lie, though. I like what Dominic's doing at his young age, but I do think he's still a little green.
For sure.
Yeah, so hopefully whatever they do with him will continue to give him some experience and some seasoning, so to speak, and hopefully he'll get better. But, yeah, he's still young, so I'm not going to bury him for it or nothing like that. But we'll see what they do. Naomi approached Sonya Deville backstage. She says she wants a match, but Deville said that basically she forgot about her request last week. She's like, told her to ask her again next week. So it's like Sonya Deville's just putting her off, like not letting her do anything here, and Naomi's not having it. So I don't know if it's going to lead to Naomi versus Sonya Deville or not. I know Sonya's kind of not wrestled much since she's been back, but they're definitely teasing this.
What happened with Sonya?
I know at one point she had this crazy stalker that got into her house at one point.
That was a thing.
And I think it scared her, which understandably so. But I don't know if she had some sort of injury too. I know at one point didn't she lose like a loser leaves SmackDown match, and then of course she came back for no reason against Liv, I believe it was. So yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what they're doing with Sonya other than
that crazy.
Yeah, that was scary because that guy actually got into her home.
Yeah,
which was
fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah, so I'm glad they got him and all that stuff. But yeah, I can see how that would freak somebody out, no doubt about it. Fans, you got to understand your limits when it comes to these talents. I mean, they'll give you an autograph if you do it the right way, but don't approach them like at dinner or at an airport. Let them be. They're human beings just like everybody else. Especially, don't be stalking them in their own home.
Decent human being, dude.
Yeah, just be use common sense. I know it's like so rare; it's a superpower these days. But at the same time, come on, guys.
You can't. That's just fucked up, like psychologically.
Yeah, it's messed up. Absolutely. In the back, we had Finn Balor. He discussed being the first ever Universal Champion and promised to win the title back tonight. So I'm glad they mentioned that. He never technically lost that belt, but it's been so long. It's not like he deserves an opportunity because of that. But I will say, at least when they brought him back from NXT this last time, he has won every match he's been in. So good. That's better than, just say, all right, John Cena, you're back. Throw, title match. So at least Finn has earned it in that respect. I just would like to see people earn it, longer term than just maybe a month he was back and then they threw him into the title picture here before Cena took it from him. So other than that, yeah. Which that led us to the main event, Universal Championship, Roman Reigns defending against Finn Balor. They worked really hard, had a really good match here. Michael Cole wondered if Brock Lesnar was in the arena though, and of course, like I said, he never did show up. Let's see here. Oh, before the match even started, the Usos jumped Balor and beat him down. They hit Balor with the stairs in the ribs. Jimmy went for a splash off the top, but the Street Profits ran out to make the save. So already from the jump, Finn Balor is at a disadvantage here. He's been beaten up, and of course, as he's trying to recover, Roman takes this opportunity.
We know how he operates.
Oh yeah.
We'll get this, and then but anytime like a really high, he's the one who gets it done, and that's all I want.
Right.
I understand you can do all your heelish shit, but at some point, I need you to not.
No, you mean Roman? Yeah, I mean, because that was my criticism of Roman for a long time. Was like, okay, you could get the wins by having your cousins cheat for you, but when the chips are down, I want to see you win on your own. And he did do that at WrestleMania. I think he did that at SummerSlam.
He's done it every time.
Yeah, he's done it when he needs to. I'm glad at least they're letting him do that instead of always taking the cheap way out. So that's a good thing. And they have been doing a great job with Roman, and this is why he needed to talk to his cousins earlier in the night. So again, good storytelling from the beginning of the show, and I'll give him that. So yeah, the match basically came down to Roman went for a spear, but Balor counted into a small package for a very close near fall. Balor hit the shotgun drop kick and the coup de grace for another very close near fall. That coup de grace spot was pretty close. Reigns gave Balor a low blow when he kicked out because Roman was laying on his back. The referee was over here by Roman's shoulders, and Roman had his arm underneath Balor's legs, in between his legs. So when he kicked out, he low blowed him at the same time. So
that's fucking smart. That's
very clever on Roman's part, and they made a point to note that Roman tends to do this sometimes, which this is the first time I recall seeing it, but very clever. So I like that part of it. So once he was recovering from that, he attacked Balor and locked on the guillotine for the quick. I can't remember if he tapped out or just passed out, but either way, Finn Balor loses via guillotine choke here. As Reigns walked off, the lights. Here's the thing, though. Balor was laying in the ring. Now, when this initially happened, I thought this was a tease to Brock Lesnar next Friday. But But I want to get Brandon's thought on this because we have discussed here on the channel that this could be a possibility. Balor's laying in the ring. Reigns is walking back up the ramp with the camera and Heyman holding up the title. The lights turn red for about 2 seconds. You hear a heartbeat and they go back to white. They are teasing the Demon Balor here, in my opinion.
Why?
No, don't get me wrong, and I've told you I think that it would be a good match to see Demon Balor versus Roman.
Demon Balor has lost.
I know that's my problem with it because we all know if they do this at Extreme Rules, which is where I think they're going right now, because Brock will be Saudi or Survivor Series at this rate, in my opinion. That's my problem with it. The undefeated streak of the Demon on the main roster. Why are you feeding that to Roman Reigns? Mm-hmm. I mean, again, it's just like they want to take whatever worked in NXT and hurt it, in my opinion. And I don't like it. Because, again, I got no problem with Rollins.
Because I think Vince, he liked the Demon. He was upset when Balor stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm. And I like the Demon, too.
Beat him.
Yeah, why would you? Again, I don't disagree that Roman should be continuing to win. Absolutely. But don't book this. Book Roman against somebody else. Don't ruin the Demon. You can still keep that mystique. And I get it. Balor has lost the title opportunity to Cena. Now he's lost to Roman. I wouldn't call it straight up because the Usos, but now he probably feels he needs to go to that Demon gimmick. But to me, it's like, why are you booking that? Why? Don't feed him to Roman because you're going to ruin another good thing. But that seems to be the direction they're going. I'm going to hate that. But
what if Roman loses?
Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see it for Balor, but I just don't think they would do that. I don't know. To me, don't get me wrong. I've always said that if Roman loses, he needs to lose to the next guy.
Is your plan to feed Roman to Brock Lesnar or somebody else to Brock Lesnar? Or are you going to feed Brock Lesnar to Roman?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. To me,
imagine that.
Yeah.
Because for a while, everybody was getting fed to Lesnar, left and right.
Yeah.
Would you feed Lesnar to Roman Reigns?
Well, I believe Roman's going to beat Brock Lesnar. Yeah, no doubt about it. To me, Roman Reigns is not losing even beyond The Rock at whatever WrestleMania they choose to get him at. I'm hearing now it may be 2023. I'm like, so what? You're going to have Roman go undefeated for another year and a half? Is that the plan? I don't know what their plan is here, but eventually Roman is going to have to fall. I think at the earliest it should be WrestleMania, but if it's WrestleMania, it should not be against The Rock. The Rock should not come in here and beat Roman Reigns. I honestly don't know who you have beat Roman Reigns. I thought Big E would have been a good one, but it sounds like Big E's probably going to Raw at this point in the draft, whatever they hold that.
I'm telling you, for me, I still think the hidden story is Jimmy.
You think? I don't know. Would they pull that trigger on Roman Reigns with Jimmy though, or Jay, whichever one it was? They were both kind of. They were both kind of on the fence about it for a minute there, but yeah, Jimmy's the one who came back, I think. So, but yeah, that it feels like that ship has sailed with Jimmy because Jimmy's kind of fallen in line at this point.
No, I think Jimmy's just playing nice.
Hey, you could go that route, but don't get me wrong. If the Demon Finn Balor beats Roman,
be huge.
That if you want to strap the rocket to a guy and you want to do it with Finn, fine. I just think whoever beats Roman needs to be your next superstar.
Roman is more than willing to play ball with something like that because he's not the type of person who's like, I ain't fucking draw. I highly doubt that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be crazy though, dude.
I just got a feeling they're just going to feed Demon to him, and that's going to suck. It really is. But they're trying to come up with contenders before they get to Brock, before they get to Rock, if they ever get him in the next year. I don't know. We'll find out maybe by Survivor Series whether or not the Rock is coming in or not. Personally, though, I don't. It feels like the whole bloodline, the head of the table stuff has to go to the Rock at some point. That's the end game with this. Otherwise, there's no sense to continue forever. But you can't have Roman lose before then if you're going to do the Rock stuff. You can't. So I just got a bad feeling about this for Finn. So it sucks.
But here's the thing: I don't think you bring the Demon out. I think you do what you did tonight, or not tonight. You know what I mean? And it's like a slow build. It's like, yeah, that happened, but then he's trying to suppress this whole thing.
You could do that route, sure. And maybe Finn gets him one more time without the demon. And then maybe, I don't know. I mean, it does seem like they're leading to the demon at some point. Again, like when I first saw this, though, I thought it was Brock because the lights turned red, kind of like his entrance. Mm-hmm. But then the heartbeat is what tells me it's the demon because that's the start. Taz. Because that's the start of his theme music, the heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom.
It's Taz.
Taz, yeah, sure. The human suplex machine. Bringing all the FTW guys over here to SmackDown. That would be something. So we'll see what they do, though. But, yeah, well, hopes and prayers are with you, fan. Let's hope everything goes well for you. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move into Monday Night Raw, this show. Seems like we say that every week here, but let's get into it here. Apparently, Daniel Bryan has officially been removed from the signature that opens up at the beginning of this show here. It even has Connor McCallick. Now the young kid who passed away, unfortunately for Connor's cure, now does the yes chant at the WrestleMania spot that is still in there. So I guess it's his spot now. But definitely this is the follow-up to AEW's All Out show. Many people were wondering how WWE would respond. They responded like it was a typical Monday Night Raw week. They didn't do... in my opinion, anything super stellar to counteract because they don't. Again, everybody else believes AEW's competition to WWE or not. I don't think Vince views it as such. If he does, he just doesn't feel like there's any need to really counter it. And they're making enough money in their eyes. There probably isn't a reason to counter anything AEW is doing at this point. But this show definitely didn't do this. This show was basically almost 2 hours of it. Of the 3 hours was a tag team turmoil match to set up the new number one contenders for RK Bro and the Raw tag team title. So I'm going to kind of quickly not really gloss over, but go through the tag matches that took place because a lot of them. I'll say this: the time that the tag team turmoil took was basically nothing but wrestling. So that's a plus. WWE did have tag team wrestling on their show. A lot of people think that might have been a response to the Bucks Lucha Brothers cage match, tag team match. To try to kind of
that was crazy as hell.
Yeah, that was great, but there was going to be no competing with that period. But I will say the tag team match that they put on here, or at least for the most part, especially the New Day stuff, was very well done. Because the New Day were in this match for probably upwards of 45 minutes. So the New Days worked their butt off here. And I'm not going to lie, the New Day wrestling gear that they wore, it is, of course, Xavier's been wearing for weeks this Scott Hall inspired like red and stuff like the old NWO. And tonight, Kofi Kingston come out wearing Kevin Nash's straps and the long pants. And it says NDR instead of New Day Rocks instead of New World Order. So that's kind of clever. So I'll give them, they always have some great costumes. But the match, the tag team turmoil started off the show. I should say it started off with a bit of a promo segment here, much like Raw always does. They cut straight to Xavier Woods and Kofi King. They had a bunch of inset promos promoting the tag team turmoil with all the teams. So that was that. Randy Orton and Riddle entered the arena, though, as they played a video recapping last week's main event with RK Bro beating Bobby Lashley MVP. So there you go. Right away, they already show you how they got beat last week. So keep that in mind as we go forward. Randy Orton called Lashley a greedy son of a bitch, which is a thing he's kind of saying every week now. He said we'd find out tonight who would lose to RK Bro next. Riddle did comedy speaking about a few of the teams. Orton seemed simultaneously annoyed and amused at Riddle. The crowd was pretty quiet for all of this, though. That's when Lashley and MVP interrupted. MVP told Riddle to shut up and said Lashley wanted to rip Orton's head off for giving him an RKO last week. Lashley called Orton a coward and challenged him to a singles match. Orton said he would accept the challenge if Lashley put the title on the line. The crowd did cheer for that because they want to see Randy Orton versus Lashley. Again, that'll be a great match, no doubt about it. It's just the booking of it is a little off. MVP accepted for Lashley, but at Extreme Rules, Lashley admitted he was a greedy son of a bitch, as Orton has claimed, and he planned on speaking to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville so they could get into the tag team turmoil match, and he could become a double champion. And Randy even said, I'd like to be a double champion, so they're kind of playing off this thing. The New Day's music hit as they interrupted everybody else. Byron Saxton said, my heart just turned into a smiley face emoji on commentary. So shut up, Byron. Kofi Kingston.
Shut up, Byron.
Kofi Kingston suggested they speak to Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce quickly because they're about to kick off the match. Woods reminded them that he beat Lashley a few weeks ago, so at least Xavier Woods finally brought that up. Xavier Woods, who beat the WWE champion, never got a WWE title match, by the way. Where's his title opportunity for pinning the champion? Everybody else seems to get him. Apparently, Woods does not. I know Lashley destroyed him and Kofi, not long after that, but again, he pinned the champion. Just saying. New Day were about to become tag team champs once again, they said. So that started the tag team turmoil match. It was Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus the Viking Raiders. For 10 minutes, they wrestled back and forth. That's when the New Day beat the Viking Raiders with a roll-up victory on Eric for the pinfall. So there's roll-up number 1. Let's start. You want to keep track how many roll-ups were tonight? There's 1. Well, we'll see here. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods then defeated Jinder Mahal and Veer. Mahal hit a combo backbreaker double foot stomp, and Woods picked up the pinfall victory following that. So very quick there. Then Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods again defeated the Lucha House Party in a pretty quick matchup here. Another roll-up. There's 2 on Grand Metalik. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods then defeated Mace and T-Bar. And, of course, this match, after it was over, ended up breaking out into a brawl because Mace and T-Bar didn't like the fact that they got beat. So they beat up the New Day after, who were already in this match for about 40-some minutes at this point. So they beat up the New Day. That's when Ali and Mansoor, who were supposed to be the next team in the tag team turmoil, ran down. But Ali was trying to tell Mansoor not to get involved. Let him get beat up. That way we can win. But Ali, being the babyface, he's like, no, I got to help him. So he jumped in the ring. And, of course, he got beat down. Mansoor got in the ring to try to help him out. That led to Ali trying to help out as well to save his partner, and they all 4 got beat down by Mason T-Bar. So at least Mason T-Bar looked kind of strong here. So good for Dominik Dijakovic. I wish they just kind of bring him back to that. But because all 4 of the members of the turmoil moving forward got beat up, the authority figures basically said, we're going to take a break from this, and we'll come back to this tag team gauntlet match later in the evening. A gauntlet match got an hour break. Interesting. I hope they don't do that to the Royal Rumble. You know what I'm saying here? Like, when was the last time you saw a gauntlet match? It's supposed to go from start to finish. That's the whole idea of a gauntlet match.
Yeah.
To not stop. They stopped it for an hour to allow the 2 teams to recover so they could have the finish of this.
I mean, you wanted an ending.
I get
have
that.
Been satisfied if they just called it off after these 2 got beat down.
I just
you know
don't
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I get it. I don't know why you booked. I get it. You book
right.
it to make Mason T-Bar look strong, but it's like, okay. Usually you just have both teams collect themselves and go. But yeah, it was just kind of odd that they threw this break in there in a big tag. Now, again, I'm sure partially this was done to give the New Day some rest. I think because my goodness, they were in this
minutes,
thing,
dude.
Yeah,
That's
nonstop.
I get what you're saying, and like I understand. It's different when it's a Royal Rumble because there's so many other people.
True.
You can just powder out like most people who go in at one.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get tossed underneath the bottom.
I was
rope
being
and
facetious, but yeah, sarcastic.
So
but,
like, yeah. When you're in a tag team match, nobody gets a break for 40 minutes.
True. I agree. And I'm sure the New Day were exhausted and were excited to get that break. But to me, it's just like, don't book an hour-plus long turmoil match, maybe. Mm-hmm. But at least there was also reports that Vince McMahon was not at this show, so they were just kind of, I wouldn't say going through the motion. I mean, kind of. But at the same time, it's like, all right, let's book some stuff where we don't have to tear a whole lot of story. They just booked long tag team matches, so at least we got tag team wrestling. I'll give them credit for that. Like I said, I love to see more wrestling on Raw. We don't get enough of it half the time due to all the shenanigans, but yeah, they took a break here so the 4 teams could continue. And of course, we've got AJ Styles and Omos and Lashley and MVP to come still before the night's out. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre had another rematch to become the number 1 contender for the U.S. title. Both guys of which who lost in a triple threat match to Damian Priest last week. Why are these 2 guys getting shots at the U.S. title then? They both lost. Get to the back of the line. Where's the new challengers? I know, but that's the problem. That's the point I'm making here. Both guys don't deserve an opportunity, but they're getting another one. So here we are. Logically, it just doesn't make storytelling sense. This is a match that Drew McIntyre loses clean for the 2nd week in a row. He took the pinfall to Damian Priest, and he loses to Sheamus. But again, a schoolboy victory, so roll up number 3 on this show. So at least... so after the match, McIntyre clocks Sheamus in the face with Sheamus's mask before giving him a Claymore kick. So, heelish move by Drew McIntyre
I think he's
here.
Probably had enough.
Getting a little frustrated, do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Not sure he's turning, but McIntyre came across as a sore loser for sure. So we'll see where they go. A lot of talk going around that he may be jumping to SmackDown to face Roman because they need contenders for Roman whenever this draft takes place, probably in October. They haven't set a date for it yet, but so again, maybe not turning him heel, but maybe with a little bit more of a fiery edge. I don't know. We'll see what they do, but definitely not liking the fact that he's losing, even though he gave Priest the respect last week, which is a good move and good to build up Damian Priest. But Sheamus, once again, getting a shot at the title. He lost. So rematch. So there's that. Kevin Patrick interviewed Damian Priest backstage. Priest loved watching a fight and definitely loved watching that fight between McIntyre and Sheamus, he said. He knew he would enjoy fighting Sheamus at Extreme Rules and was confident he would retain his title. So most likely that's what will happen. Sarah Schreiber interviewed Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash. Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley are basically RK Bro now. Rhea Ripley playing the Randy Orton straight person, and Nikki Ash is the goofball like Riddle. So we've got copying gimmicks, much like what happens on NXT. We're copying gimmicks from other main roster shows. So it's just WWE kind of creatively running dry a little bit here. They're just kind of copying stuff now. Schreiber asked what they had in common. Ripley said they both wanted to be champions, and maybe they could again if they beat Natalya and Tamina, which, by the way, why are they getting a championship contenders match against the women's tag team champions? I thought Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart were the number one contenders because they had beaten Tamina and Natalya multiple times on SmackDown. So are we just supposed to forget about that one now?
I don't know, man. I don't watch this shit.
Well, I'm making a point. To me, it's like, wait a minute now. I mean, now they're getting number one contenders matches. So what's going on here? Just again, illogical booking. Ripley said they both. Okay, yeah. An excited Nikki encouraged a less excited Ripley to say their new tagline. Ripley begrudgingly set up Nikki to say that they would unleash, quote, super brutality. That's what Nikki Ash is asking to be the tagline. So yay.
Because she's a superhero.
She's a superhero, and Ripley's got the brutality. Yeah,
okay, I see what you did there.
Clever. Not.
Look, both of them are cute. I don't give a shit.
They are cute. No wrong. But smiley Ripley. Ripley is now the new Finn Balor. Vince has asked her to smile. Horrible. So at least Ripley's not flashing her crotch to the camera yet. So there's that.
You got abs like that and a package. Flash it all you want, brother.
Boy. This Friday, SmackDown at Madison Square Garden, Brock Lesnar will appear, plus Edge faces Seth Rollins. So, again, at least they're trying to book a strong match for that big Madison Square Garden show. So, good for them on that. Schreiber then interviewed Charlotte Flair about her upcoming title match against Nia Jax. Charlotte admitted that Jax was not like most women, but Charlotte herself was one of a kind. She planned on making Jax kiss the floor she walked on. Next up, we had Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash defeated the Raw or the women's tag team champions Natalya and Tamina in a non-title match. So these poor tag team champions, Natalya and Tamina, I don't think have won a match since they won the tag team titles. It's just a shame to see here. Ripley blind tagged herself in right before Natalya put Nikki in a sharpshooter. Ripley grabbed Natalya and hit the Riptide for the pinfall win. The crowd was quiet for the match but popped for the win. These tag team championships are just completely irrelevant at this point. The tag champions, can't get a win to save their life in singles competition or in tag competition. Take the belts off Natalya and Tamina as soon as possible. They need to stop. But who they're going to give them to, I don't know, because we don't even know who the number one contender is really. There was a Moist TV segment, which backstage from earlier today with guest Karrion Kross. John Morrison's music played in the background during this segment. Kross said he wanted people's worst dreams to become a reality. Morrison then asked him what was next. Kross wanted to make him suffer. The music then stopped. Morrison didn't think he was serious. Kross told Morrison he planned on eliminating him. Morrison wasn't afraid of him. He said he's been in the business for 2 decades, and he faced the likes of Undertaker, Kane, and DX. He said the cool members of DX anyway. Kross told him he was going to teach him to fall and pray, and this definitely had all sorts of wet, drip, any sort of puns and water innuendos you can think of. Poor John Morrison. I don't know where Miz has been, by the way. Miz is another one who just disappeared off the face of the planet. Talk today is coming out that he will be on Dancing with the Stars, at least, so at least we know that's where he'll be. But they booked this match between Miz and Morrison after their breakup. They never delivered it last week or the week before, whenever it was booked, and now Miz is just gone. So babyface John Morrison is just getting fed to Omos, and now he's getting fed to Karrion Kross. In 2 minutes, he loses to Karrion Kross here in the next segment to the Cross Jacket. So, John Morrison, Sorry, buddy. This is the best you're going to be. I hope you enjoy it. Sarah Schreiber then interviewed Nia Jax. She said Charlotte freaked out last week because she's never been physically overpowered like that, referencing the fact that they kind of had this brawl, if you want to call it this, in the ring. Jax planned on finishing what she started to win the title, which brings us to the third hour of the show. Charlotte then faced Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. This basically boiled down to Shayna Baszler jumping up onto the apron and kind of caused a distraction here that led to Charlotte using the natural selection off the second rope onto Nia Jax. Baszler cost Nia Jax the win and the Raw Women's Championship here as Charlotte retains. So we have now Shayna Baszler, who's not won a match since January, basically costing Nia the championship, and we had them break up, get back together for no reason, and now they're teasing a breakup again. It looks like it's going to be Nia versus Shayna at some point, and Shayna will inevitably lose again to Nia Jax, in my opinion. Got any thoughts on that one? I think Brandon's about to fall asleep, as Raw has a tendency to do here. I haven't
watched it. Like I don't know.
I don't blame you, bro. I mean, it's not good stuff. I'm not trying to belittle WWE. I'm really not. It's just some of the stuff they're booking makes no logical sense, and this is why it's hard for fans to stay invested. It's why a lot of people don't watch WWE anymore.
Well, I mean,
but they got better ratings than some shows.
Fucking do.
They do. I mean, and if this is for you,
there are people who are gonna yell at you in the comments. I mean, it is what it is. Some people like it, some people don't. That's what I've been saying about wrestling.
And if you like it, more power to you.
Wrestling is this fickle thing. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember who called it fickle before, but it is. There are people who like stupid shit.
I know.
And more power to them. Whatever. You like that shit? Cool. Watch it.
Me personally, I'm tired of getting my intelligence insulted by watching these shows, because it's like, you act like we don't watch the show the week before, and then you completely change stuff, and it's like, well, we just watched you do one thing, and now you want us to forget like it ever happened. Like it just shows you're making things up on the fly, and a lot of it stuff just makes no logical common sense. So it's like, why should we care and get invested? Like half of these tag teams in these tag team turmoil matches tonight, we haven't seen them in a long time, or you threw them together without any rhyme or reason, and you just expect us to care. Like the Lucha House Party, we've not seen them in months, and all of a sudden we're supposed to care that they're in a turmoil match for the tag team titles? Why should I bother? And not only that, everybody you bring them from NXT, you end up burying at some point anyway. That's why nobody watches NXT. We'll see if they get that ship righted, but I mean, I don't have much faith in it. So, but yeah, this is the problem that many people have with World Wrestling Entertainment. The key word there being in the middle being wrestling. So at least we got some wrestling tonight. I will give them credit there. Like I said, I will praise them when it's something's good, but some of the storytelling stuff is garbage. After the match, though, let's see here. So after the match, Alexa Bliss appeared on screen. So at least last week, we criticized WWE for not following up on the Alexa Bliss stuff from the week prior when she come out on the stage and waved to Charlotte. So at least they finally followed this up here. So maybe they didn't forget about it. I'll give them credit there. And invited Charlotte to the playground. Charlotte was not interested in her mind games and declined to go to the playground. So Charlotte is being smart. Yeah, Charlotte is being smart about this and not falling for these games. So that's good. Bliss said Lily had a lot of pent up energy tonight and asked Charlotte if she had any idea what it was like being stuck with a lunatic. Bliss realized Charlotte would not know what that's like, or she should know what that's like because she's a Flair. Ooh, sick burn. I guess because she grew up with Rick. Bliss said she would just have to bring the playground to Charlotte then if she won't come back there to her. The lights went out and Bliss appeared in the middle of the ring, very, spooky-ish. Charlotte asked Bliss what she wanted. Bliss pointed to the Raw Women's Championship. Charlotte asked if she wanted a title match, and the crowd chanted yes, so Charlotte agreed. So apparently at Extreme Rules, it's going to be Alexa Bliss and Lily versus Charlotte for the Raw Women's Championship. Here's the thing about Alexa Bliss. Alexa gets cheered. That's great. But Alexa is getting cheered for Alexa, not this gimmick. It's much like Nikki Ash. Nikki Ash gets cheered because people love Nikki, but the gimmick's garbage. I think it's time to drop both of those gimmicks, but that's just my opinion. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, look, obviously, especially with Nikki, this is what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, there's some debate about that, or was it the one thing that they were willing to allow her to do? But, who knows? So the rumor is she asked for it, so.
It was her idea or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
If it works for you, it works for you. I mean, like I said,
there are kids who love it, I'm sure.
I'm indifferent about the shit. I can't sit here and bash it. I cheered for fucking Hurricane. It is what it is.
Oh, Hurricane Helms, yeah. Yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, though, that felt like it was more creatively done. I mean, am I wrong in that assessment?
You are wrong because it was terrible.
Really?
Fucking the Hurricane was fucking terrible.
And it was a different time, too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
He chokeslammed people 3 times his size. Dude, he was terrible.
Really, I don't remember him choking 3 times his size. I do remember the choke slam. But, I mean,
Chokeslam guys he shouldn't have been able to chokeslam.
Yeah, I mean,
as much for the sake of superpowers.
The more things change, the more things stay the same in WWE. Yeah. I mean, just go back to the 80s. You'll see the same gimmicks today. I mean, it just kind of...
It's just
Cameron Grimes, anybody? I mean, I love Cameron Grimes, but he's Ted DiBiase. That's what he is. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, and we'll get to Cameron Grimes here in a little bit. I had a segment that looked like it was a lot of fun. So, Reginald was then in a 24/7 championship match that lasted 41 seconds. He defeated Akira Tozawa with a flipping senton to win the match. After the match, Reginald managed to evade R-Truth and Cedric Alexander. At least this was not in a park this week, so I'll give him credit for that. Humberto Carrillo, Jackson Riker, Shelton Benjamin, and Jeff Hardy all ran down, but Reginald wiped them out with a dive. So Jeff Hardy is now relegated to the 24/7 title run here. Sucks to be him. Why did he beat Karrion Kross again? Oh, yeah, I thought the story was supposed to play out, but I guess that's just never going to happen now. They dropped that. So all of you who said, give it time, you know, they're going to show what happens with Jeff Hardy being Karrion Kross. No. They never followed up on that. So that's where Jeff is now. You know, AEW, here he comes probably when his contract expires to join
Jeff? I don't think Jeff's going
to join his brother Matt and retire as a tag team. Yeah, I think that will happen. I don't know if it'll be several good because, you know, Jeff at his stage of his career, I don't know how much he's got left. Same with Matt for that matter. But we'll see what happens. Reginald backed up the stage. He stopped upon seeing a returning Drake Maverick to Monday Night Raw. Was wearing a suit. Truth tried going after Reginald again, but he escaped. Truth told Maverick to go back to his wife. Reginald could be seen leaving behind them. Truth left, and Maverick smirked. So apparently Drake Maverick is now demoted to the 24/7 championship feud here, so sucks to be him. But then again, I don't know if NXT is going to be any better of a safe haven starting next week. We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, Drake Maverick is now on Raw. Kevin Patrick interviewed Doudrop. She said Eva Marie got Doudropped, and she wanted a rematch. So a rematch for a match that was supposed to take place last week, but they never delivered. So there's that. She said the Evolution was more like an Eva Delusion, and she was ushering in a new era, the Doudropolution. I don't know what writers thought this was good, but man. All right, then. We'll move on. Next week, or I'm sorry, we continue the tag team turmoil match. It continued here with Kofi Kingston defeating Mustafa Ali and Mansoor. Woods followed with a springboard elbow drop for the pinfall win here. That set up AJ Styles and Omos to go up against the New Day, and this is where the New Day finally fall victim to Styles and Omos. Woods went after Omos, but Omos just chucked him out of the ring. Omos headed Kingston to Styles, who hit the Styles Clash for the pinfall win here. So, good effort by the New Day. To me, though, partially, it's like New Day doesn't need to have this long match because we all know how good the New Day is. The New Day are over. Could you have maybe used this tag team turmoil match to book and maybe highlight some other tag team, maybe like the Viking Raiders? Now, granted, they lasted 10 minutes, but could they have maybe gone 40 minutes? And maybe you kind of develop a new tag team? That's just my opinion. But wasted opportunity with the New Day. But again, New Day are entertaining, no doubt about it. But it's just kind of like, feels like you could be doing some things to develop some of these other talents, but they're not. So that set up AJ Styles versus Bobby Lashley and MVP. The crowd chanted for MVP during this match because they were in Miami, and that's MVP's hometown. So what does MVP do? He immediately tags in Lashley to get the cheap heat. So again, you can't let the hometown crowd just kind of be happy here a little bit. But anyhow, the crowd chanted for Lashley as he fought off the bigger man in Omos. Omos dwarfs Bobby Lashley, by the way. But that doesn't make Omos a super good wrestler at this point. But Styles went for a phenomenal forearm, but Lashley ducked and hit a spear for the pinfall win over AJ Styles here. So Lashley and MVP will face Orton and Riddle for the tag team titles next week on Raw, a rematch we had exactly last week, or when the match happens 2 weeks ago. So again, circle. rinse, repeat here. It's just, granted, I get they're probably leading to Orton versus Bobby Lashley, and I'm sure RK Bro will probably be retained next week on Raw, but it's like, all right. After the match, Omos gave Lashley a tree slam, so it made Bobby Lashley look kind of weak here to the big Omos. I get you trying to get Omos over, but after Omos and Styles left, Lashley got to his feet just long enough for Randy Orton to slip in and hit an RKO on the WWE champion as the show went off the air with Orton and Riddle posing over Bobby Lashley. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just feels odd the way they're booking a lot of this, but my thoughts. Anything on your end, do you think?
Nope.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, and like this is the part I don't like because like I don't know what to say. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. Like I can complain about it, but like I said, there are people who tune into this shit. There are people who start to get their ratings. There are people who, make this all seem like it's worth it. So it is what it is. Like I can shit on it all day, but if it's
it's not like
it's not marketed towards me and I'm not watching it, then you do what you do.
And it's not so much I'm trying to crap on it. I'm just trying to give everybody my, honest opinions and honest thoughts of why it doesn't work for me. So if you're taking it as me just totally crapping on WWE every week, I'm not trying to do that. But
that's exactly how people are going to take it because
I know
we don't talk about anything good in the sense of like, oh, this was.
Well, I said the wrestling was good.
And it's like, but it's the same mentality we have about certain shit that goes on. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But then like, I don't watch it. Simply because I don't like it,
right?
And I'm not gonna have anything positive to say. Then I'm not gonna waste my time on it.
Mm-hmm.
Then like people who are like, well, why are you guys even fucking talking about it? Well, in a sense, because I want it to be better, so I can watch it.
Right.
I mean, this is what I grew up watching. This is why I got into wrestling in the first place, and to see it in the state of where it's just like. Yeah, I don't fucking know.
And I don't blame you for not watching. A lot of people don't. And a lot of people don't watch for the reasons that I am laying out here. But I want you to at least, respond to what I'm saying. And if you have a thought about how they're booking it and stuff, by all means, let me know. And that's not something you necessarily have to watch for.
No, that's not. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm letting the audience know.
I'm not engaging. Yeah. It's just like, on my part, it's just like, I get it. Why people don't tune into it.
Mm-hmm.
I also get why people do tune into it.
Right.
I'm just one of the ones that don't.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. And I don't think a lot of people probably wouldn't blame you. So, and if they don't like it, oh well.
And it's like I said, it's not because like I want to sit here and be like, oh, fuck, because that's not it. It's like I grew up watching WWF/WWE.
Right.
When the Monday Night Wars were happening. I was that guy who flipped between WCW and WWF.
Right.
9 times out of 10, it stayed on WWF television.
Yeah, it was for
me
too.
I mean?
Yep. But back then imagine them pinning Roman Reigns every week with, because he's the Universal Champion. They're not doing that with Roman, but every other champion for the most part loses. WWE back in the Attitude Era wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have been stupid enough to do that. WWE back in the 80s wouldn't have done that. I mean,
the thing was back then too, and we complain about this too, because they may have not have pinned them every week, but there was a different champion every other week.
Well, yeah, in the Attitude Era for sure. Maybe not back in the 80s, but the Attitude Era things did jump around. Yeah,
between 3 people.
Yeah,
for years.
Hunter, Stone Cold, and Rock for the most part, and Taker occasionally, but mostly those 3 guys. And Mick was thrown in there too. Mick Foley, who even come out this week and was saying, WWE, you've got a problem after All Out. They said he's like, and I'm sure it hurt Mick to say because Mick is as WWE diehard as it gets, and even Mick is saying if WWE's creative doesn't get any better, he doesn't blame anybody for going over to AEW because he doesn't even think he would trust WWE in their creative process right now to take care of his character. So why would any other superstar do it? So if Mick is saying this, and Mick defends WWE as much as he can because he loves the company, and we love the company too. I think any professional wrestling fan, if they're honest, would say they love WWE because of all the good memories and stuff they've given them. We just want WWE to be better, and right now they're doing things that are so illogically ridiculous that
it's hard to go. Nah, I still like them.
I mean, I love them for what they were. Right now, I can't say I love today's product very much. No,
but like. I can't shit on the talent because like they have
the talent's
a lot of
great, and they should be the upper echelon in the world right now. And a lot of people still view them as that because they make the most money. Which I don't know why fans care about that. They're not sharing it with you. I don't get that argument. But at the same time, I get they got the highest ratings except for NXT, but. Why does that matter to the fan, what the ratings are? It doesn't matter. If the product is not making you happy while you watch it, why do you care about that other stuff? It doesn't matter. But, yeah, we just want them to be better. That's all. And if they would do things that actually make some logical sense and make their storytelling make sense, I think we would, be much happier with the product. But the wrestling's good, and they got great talent. We just want them to use them better. That's all.
Yeah, and a lot of times, too, it's like they'll give you these moments of, like, dude, that's fucking phenomenal.
Some pay-per-views.
Some of their pay-per-views, you're just like,
because they don't have to worry. They don't have to worry about the storytelling aspect because they're just doing matches.
If you were to apply that same effort that you do in some of your pay-per-views on your weekly television, fucking yes, please
tell the story on the pay-per-views and the matches like if you were to do that on Raw and SmackDown. Great, that's a good start, and then make the storytelling make logical sense. So that's all we ask. Yeah. But we'll see. All right, let's move into the last NXT of the current NXT era before we get the rainbow logos and all that stuff next week, which, again, sounds like they're at least setting up that show to be good for the debut of the new NXT, so we'll see what happens here. But the show opened up this week with Kaylee Ray defeating Ember Moon in a really good match here. Moon went to the top rope, but Ray cut her off. Ray leapt off the top rope into a swanton bomb that netted a 2 count. Crazy cool counter by Moon led to a Michinoku driver. Ray managed a kick out. A moment later, Ray would use a counter of her own. Kaylee Ray dropped Moon to the mat with a gory bomb, and Ray covered Moon for the 3 count here. So good opener. Definitely, again, highlighting Kaylee Ray here. Ember Moon says a little bit later like she may have to make some changes. I worry about that with the new direction of NXT. I don't know if you need to be changing Ember Moon a whole lot. Just maybe book her to get some wins. That would be a good change. But right now, she put over Kaylee Ray here, so we'll see what they do with her moving forward. Mackenzie Mitchell interviewed Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland were flanking them. Burch did not want to talk about his return. He and Lorcan vowed to win the tag team titles tonight against MSK. Dunne told them to not only win the titles, Dunne also said to end MSK. So we're getting that tag team title match tonight, as well as some women tag team title match tonight. So then we had a bachelorette party segment. We're getting a bachelor and a bachelorette party for the Index wedding that takes place next week on NXT. This is the bachelorette segment where Indy Hartwell showed up with her to her party. Candice LeRae was there along with Indy's friends. Indy thanked one friend for coming all the way from Australia. Her friend said she came for Disney World, though. Indy toasted Candice, and Candice gave a toast saying she has accepted Dexter Lumis into the family. There were jokes. One joke was about cracking nuts. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter were on TikTok, and Candice called it flip-flop. Indy wondered what was happening at the bachelor party, and Candice LeRae remarked that she had spy gear, so Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae are going to be spying on the dudes a little bit later in the show. Then we had Santos Escobar. He defeated Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, hold on. Real quick. That's never a good thing.
Spying on dudes at a bachelor party. Probably not going to end well for the dudes usually. But
you don't want to know what goes on.
Just leave it alone, Indy. Leave it alone. Now, to that credit, there's probably some bachelorette parties that dudes may not want to know either. Brother. So it goes both ways here. Let's be honest.
You do not know what your wife to be does when she's about to give it up for the rest of her life.
Brother. Yeah. It goes both ways. Some maybe more than others. It just depends on the person.
You'll find out she does too.
Hey-o. All right. But yeah, this led to Santos Escobar. And he defeated Carmelo Hayes here. Escobar pinned Hayes after interference from Legado del Fantasma. Electra Lopez gave Hayes a body slam on the floor before Escobar used his finisher to win the match. So, yeah, there we go. A little bit of interference that caused the finish. But, again, that's kind of typical WWE booking, but that's really the first one they really had this week. So, kudos on that one, I suppose.
NXT doesn't do it much, man.
No, but I fear it's about to get worse if the rumors are true about Vince and Pritchard. But we'll see. But yeah, we're right. And by the way, I should mention here too. We're talking about Vince and Bruce Pritchard maybe taking over. Triple H, our best thoughts and wishes go out to Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who did have a cardiac event, I guess, last week and had to have some heart surgery of some sort. We don't know the full extent of all the details of that right now, but the reports are saying that everything went well and he is recovering well, so that's good to hear. Of course, we don't want to speculate about any of that stuff. They said it was more of a genetic thing that he just had for a long time, so he just probably had to get it corrected. But, again, I mean, again, I don't want to speculate, but stress and things from some stuff at NXT. Again, maybe he had an issue with it. I don't know, but that's for another time. But for right now, we want to wish Triple H all the best and hope that he comes back and actually, help out with some of these shows for sure. We have faith in Hunter.
That's some scary business, and he's still young.
Yeah, he is. And of course, people were going to say steroids. They're going to talk. Yeah. I don't want to do that whole lot on the channel, but I'm not going
to sit here and deface the man over real.
We don't know.
Crisis here,
let them do them, respect their privacy, and we just hope the best for Triple H for sure. So Santos Escobar wins there. Let's see here. They showed Katie Catanzaro and Caden Carter were warming up for their match later on by doing tandem moves together in the back. Then we had Malcolm Bivens introduce the Creed brothers as the newest members of Diamond Mine, I should say. They debut in NXT as a tag team here in just a few minutes. William Regal announced a fatal four-way for next week for the debut of the new NXT that will determine the number one contender for Samoa Joe's NXT Championship. This could be a great match. Kyle O'Reilly versus Tommaso Ciampa versus Pete Dunne versus LA Knight next week for the number one contendership. So, again, at least NXT is booking their debut of their rebrand with a big number one contenders match. So that could be a lot of fun.
Match is going to be...
That's going to be on fire. So that'll be good. And any one of those guys would be a great contender for Samoa Joe. So love to see that.
I want it to be Pete Dunne so damn bad.
It might be based on the way the show ends, so we'll get to that here in a minute.
I want to be Peter Dune.
Julius and Brutus Creed, the newest members of Diamond Mine, then defeat two people I've never heard of, Chucky Viola and Paxton Averill. This was an enhancement match, and it was booked and worked stiff like an old Road Warrior squash match. If you ever seen the movie Friday and seen Smokey and Craig go, damn, that's kind of what this match was. So, yeah, these guys completely pummeled their opponents from pillar to post, and they manhandled them here. So these guys are a Haas team, and this is going to be an interesting team to follow here. So definitely check them out here. Pure dominance from the Creed brothers of Diamond Mine. Then we had Ember Moon in a post-match interview talking about how she sees some changes coming for herself. So prayers and thoughts are with you, Ember. Let's hope they don't ruin you. Hit Row cut promos on Legado del Fantasma. This is good stuff here. This continues to be a very hot act. Where, again, another act we hope WWE does not screw up here with the rebrand. We'll see what happens.
There's a lot of hope they don't fucking screw up.
Yeah, they started off with a good Fatal 4-Way match, so that's good. But how long does that continue? We'll see. But we have hopes for NXT, but at the same time, some worries as well. Next up, we had the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Io Shirai and Zoe Stark defeated Kacy Catanzaro and Caden Carter to retain their titles here. Shirai pinned Stark to retain the titles, although Shirai and Stark did not get along very well in this match, as they haven't really been for a while now. They worked together to finish and win the match, though. Interestingly enough, though, Io Shirai and Zoe Stark have had those belts for 2 months, and this is the first title defense they've had. So, where's that been?
They took the women's wrestlers.
Yeah, that's true. They don't have any contenders. Yeah. All the good women went up to the main roster, and then they promptly don't hardly see them.
WWE rated the shit out of them.
Yeah,
the main roster rated the fuck out of them. It was like, nah, leave them alone. Yeah. And now we're just going to rebrand your whole shit.
Exactly. It's a shame. The big story after this, though, was the fact that Mandy Rose, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane ran in after the match to attack Catanzaro and Carter. The heels stomped on them, and the babyfaces were laid out. Mandy Rose was wearing a protective mask on her face after she got her face kicked by Sarai last week. So, again, copying a gimmick, Mandy Rose is now copying Sheamus' face mask. It looked almost identical. It was black and everything. It's like, what are we doing? I get it. It makes sense with the story they told last week with Shirai dropkicking her to face, but again, stop copying everybody's gimmicks here. My goodness. I guess it sells the angle from last week, but it was definitely odd. So if they laid out the baby faces here to further Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, most likely. Then we had the bachelor party. This is interesting, so buckle in for this. Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano were riding in a limo heading to Lumis's bachelor party. Gargano was very salty. He vowed to pay for nothing in this. Interestingly enough, since I guess he's the father of the bride, so to speak, he won't pay.
You bastard.
You bastard. Luckily for him, though, the limo stopped to pick up Cameron Grimes. So here we go.
Oh, my. And I missed it.
He vowed.
So mad.
He vowed to take this party to the moon. Odyssey Jones and Drake Maverick were also in the limo, so I guess Drake's still making some appearance. Well, this is actually taped before Raw, so yeah, I guess Drake Maverick was still technically a part of NXT, so there was that. So they were in the limo as well, along with the infamous zombie referee.
Oh, God.
So there's that. Grimes handed out cash to everybody in the limo. He made a truce with Loomis, and they shook hands like the cool kids do. Off the group went to the party. They had a go-kart race where Grimes put up $30,000 in prize money. Meanwhile, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae were spying on them. Gargano won the go-kart race. Next, the party moved to axe throwing. They all threw axes with varying levels of success. Dexter Loomis helped show Johnny Gargano the proper form, and they were bonding really well here. So well that they shot each other a thumbs up. The partygoers went to a bounce house after this, and then they played laser tag. Dexter Loomis helped his team win by choking out the geeks on the opposing team. So, again, I told you this was great. This is awesome. They all celebrated. You got to go check this out then. This is great. They all celebrated when they won the laser tag match. Somewhere along the way, we find out that the zombie ref was Canadian, Gargano reluctantly high-fived Loomis, and the friendship was born. Hartwell and Candice LeRae ran in excited that everyone is now on the same page. So yeah, that was it, and that was a great time.
I'm so glad I missed this.
I'm sure you can find it on their social medias and YouTube, but yeah, go check this out. It was a lot of fun. This is great. This is great comedy. And of course Cameron Grimes made it all the better and stuff as well. So yeah, this is awesome.
And Loomis was deadpan the whole time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
fucking Christ, dude.
So then we had a teaser plugged for the in-ring debut of Mei Ying, which is up next. But first, we have a skit. Frankie Monet was with Jesse Kamea when Robert Stone ran in with big news. Stone talked to William Regal, and for next week, Raquel Gonzalez will defend her NXT Championship against Frankie Monet. So again, a match they've been teasing for a bit. They are booking on the debut of the rebranded NXT. So good, nothing wrong with that. Mei Ying with Boa defeated Virginia Ferry. A very quick squash match here. Not a whole lot to really discuss here. Ying applied a Tongan death grip, much like Meng used to do. And Ferry,
seen that in a minute.
Yeah, Ferry's shoulders were pinned to the mat for a 3 count. So Mei Ying looks strong. So that's okay. Tommaso Ciampa, Kyle O'Reilly, and LA Knight all had separate promos building up to the Fatal 4-Way next week. And of course, they run down the 2 big matches plus the end.
That's a fucking barn burner, dude.
Yeah. Those that Fatal 4-Way, the Women's Championship, and of course the Index Wedding will be on the debut next week. So good lineup. So we'll see what they do with it. The main event then was the NXT Tag Team Championships. MSK retained their titles over Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan here. Pete Dunne and Rich Holland, I believe, were at ringside here. But basically, MSK hit a heart attack blockbuster combo finisher, and Lee covered Lorcan to retain the titles here. The big story was after the match, though, due to the loss because Pete Dunne demanded they end MSK earlier in the night. Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland turn on Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan by attacking them here after the match.
I knew that was going to happen.
They laid out their new former stablemates, and Dunne and Holland went to leave, but they turned around so Holland could deliver more punishment. The show closed with a cliffhanger of Dunne and Holland now being a duo to fear here in NXT. So, yes, as
I
you
knew
said,
that was going to happen. The moment he comes back, they're going to, which is fine because like Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan was a great tag team.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some hard hitting, like again, among those guys, I would love to see Thatcher and Ciampa versus those two at some point.
And Dunne, because of this big thing here, maybe he does get the match against Samoa Joe. They've been teasing that rivalry since Joe came in as this enforcer. So they've been having stare downs and stuff for a while. So if they're going to build Pete Dunne here with this ending here, he very well could come out the victor next week. So we'll see what they do. But that would be a good match, no doubt about it. Anybody who wins that Fatal 4-Way would be a good match for Samoa Joe. But the babyface versus the heel dynamic would actually be there more than it would be for like Ciampa or O'Reilly. LA Knight would work, but I don't know if he's quite there yet. But he's getting there. LA Knight's a guy Raw or SmackDown could benefit from him at this point, but I wouldn't wish that demotion on him for anything. So we'll see what they do with LA Knight. But all right, so let's move on to the AEW, what I'm dubbing as Fallout after the AEW All Out show, the fantastic pay-per-view. And here is the Dynamite show from this week from Cincinnati, Jon Moxley's hometown here. The show started out with Malachi Black versus Dustin Rhodes. Very hot opener. There was a spot in the match where Dustin back suplexed Malachi Black, and Malachi Black was trying to hold on to the turnbuckle. I think he meant to pull the turnbuckle pad off, but was unable to get it, and it didn't happen. So they ended up fighting on the outside, where he back suplexed Dustin Rhodes through the ringside announce table, or what was the little bell table, or whatever they call it, the ring bell table. And that's when Malachi Black, with the referee distracted by Dustin on the outside, he went back in and ripped the buckle off the pad off the buckle, exposing the turnbuckle here, which set up a finish here where Dustin Rhodes ran into Malachi Black. Malachi Black did a toe trip on it, or no, he swept the leg out from underneath him, and Dustin ran into the buckle, knocked him all woozy. And, of course, Malachi Black hit him with the Black Mass, or the spinning heel kick to finish. He didn't quite connect it. He hit Dustin Rhodes in the shoulder instead of in the face, but they kind of played it off like he didn't quite hit all of it. And Dustin was woozy from the shot, so they tried to play it off, but it was a little bit of a botch. But Malachi Black pins Dustin Rhodes here and furthers this feud with the Nightmare family. And by the end of this show, we find out that Cody Rhodes will indeed get his rematch against Malachi Black at the New York Dynamite, called Grand Slam on September 22nd. So they're building that as one of the big matches for that show. So we'll see what they do. There was a spot in this match where Malachi Black also had the boot that Cody Rhodes had taken off and laid in the middle of the ring. He was stashed under the ring. He grabbed it and threw it in the ring to taunt Dustin Rhodes with it. So again, they're definitely leading back to another Cody Rhodes match. I know Brandon's kind of had I don't know if we need to do that again mentality with it, which I understand, but we'll see what they do with it. I mean, I think it makes to come full circle back to Cody, but why? So I don't know. We'll Cody see. Win? I don't think so. But again, I could be dead wrong though. But I think again, it's just one of those deals to put Malachi over even further. But we'll see how this goes. You did it once
about MJF.
Well, again, it didn't hurt MJF though. MJF's been here much longer. A little bit of a difference, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see if Cody beats him. I don't know why they do that, but we'll see what happens. They've got something in mind, and I'm not quite sure if I can figure that one out yet, so we'll see what happens. So, yeah. After the match, though, Dustin's mouth was bleeding profusely from that buckle shot. He took a good shot on there, so hope he's okay. Lucha Brothers video package aired. Their championships cost them blood, sweat, and tears, they said, so anyone who wants them is welcome to try and take them. Cierro Mero. So yeah, they haven't quite decided, I think, who's going to be their next challenger. So we'll see. Eddie Kingston cut a
they got the night off.
Yes, they deserved it, and so did the Young Bucks. I hear the Young Bucks were pretty beat up, especially from that Canadian Destroyer off the top on Matt Jackson. Poor guy. I heard he was in some rough shape, so hopefully they'll be okay. Eddie Kingston, Young Bucks show up later, but they weren't in a match. So Eddie Kingston cut a promo. He called Miro out for using a low blow at All Out. So there we go, play it off that storyline. So that looks like this may continue. Miro came back in by saying that he offered Kingston broken bones to his wife and his soul to God. So got offered up as a sacrifice to his wife and his God. So this apparently must continue, which I'm fine with. I mean, we've only seen it once. Don't overdo it, but the way it ended, it makes some narrative sense to continue. CM Punk came out for a promo. Punk thanked Darby Allin, Sting, and all the fans. This felt like he was going a little bit all over the place here in this promo. Not quite sure what the structure was, but he said wrestling is like riding a violent bicycle, and he's back, he said. Loud, you still got it chance from the crowd, which Punk appreciated. Punk hyped up Minoru Suzuki's appearance later on in the show, leading to a big Moxley chant from the hometown crowd. He addressed Aunt Linda in the crowd, which is apparently a relative of Brian Pillman, or I don't think this was John Moxley, because they had Brian Pillman's...
No, it's Brian Pillman.
Okay, Brian Pillman's sister was right next to her, so I assume this was the woman who raised Brian Pillman. Okay. In the front row, before listing all the big surprises from All Out, he was talking about Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson. So again, the promo was kind of all over the place. He's like thinking of fans, then doing this and that. It's like, all right, what's going on here? The first person Punk texted after his match was his wife, April. He blew her a kiss. She asked him what's next, and he said he doesn't quite know, and he said he would leave it up to the crowd. So he asked the crowd, and the crowd was chanting all different names they wanted him to wrestle. Then on commentary, Taz had enough of this. He grabbed a microphone. He's known Punk for a long time, he said, and he's tired of this BS love fest he's got going on. He told Punk to never mention any members of Team Taz he wants to face. Technically, Punk didn't mention anybody from Team Taz. No. I think they expected the crowd maybe to do that, and it didn't happen.
No,
I don't know.
It was weird.
It was weird.
Because nobody in the crowd was going to name anybody.
No, I don't think so. Now, they did do, I think Punk posted something on his Twitter or Instagram. Apparently, he was at the gym and he had found an FTW hat. And he said whoever it was from Team Taz who owned the hat can come and collect it. So I think that should have been the tease that he was going to be facing somebody from Team Taz. But again, most people don't watch social media stuff sometimes.
That should have been Taz's beef then.
Yeah, or something like that. But over a hat, though, it's kind of silly regardless. But I mean,
more or less, if that's our property, why do you have it?
Right. Obviously, I think the plan here is for Punk to probably run through Team Taz, get some wins. Fine, nothing wrong with that. Well, it's not good for Team Taz, but Team Taz has been doing this for a long time where they're kind of there to help other stars. Ricky Starks is the exception. Now, Punk did say he could bring any of them, Powerhouse, Hook, or Starks. It sounds like it'll probably lead to Starks, but
also got to build up Hook, Starks, Powerhouse, Hobbs.
I got a feeling it'll lead to Starks will be the last of the three he goes against here. Hobbs had a match here in a minute, which we'll get into, that he did win, so build a little credibility for Hobbs, so that's good. Hook has not really wrestled much at AEW at all. I think he's just kind of there because he's Taz's son. He's probably training, but he may not be ready for this league just yet. But Starks seems like the end game here for Punk, and that could be a very good match, no doubt about it. But again, do you beat the FTW champion with Punk, or how that's going to go? We'll see how they do it, but it's definitely one of those things that seems like they're getting ready to do with Team Taz. He challenged all the members and told them he told Taz telling them they could beat him if they can, survive if Punk lets them. So nice little bit of a thing. And of course that made Taz livid. So there is that.
Weird for Taz to just spout off at that shit
for no reason, just gets mad. Yeah, but I mean, I guess he's just tired of seeing the love fest. I guess you could say that, but it was a little weird to be like, don't ever talk about Team Taz. Well, even Punk said on the mic, I didn't say anything about Team Taz, but it was a little weird. So we'll see what happens. Santana and Ortiz said that their feud with FTR sparked something within them. Now they're turning their attention to the rest of the tag division. So Santana and Ortiz could possibly be going for the World Tag Team Championships here. But two baby faces, we'll see. They deserve it, absolutely. And it'd be a great match, too. So we'll see where they go.
Yeah.
Ruby Soho was asked about her open challenge in the back by Tony Schiavone. She said she didn't want people to think she just got lucky at the Casino Battle Royale. That's when Britt Baker and her entourage walked up here, saying Soho's just a flavor of the month. Soho came back saying she was one of the people who helped break Britt Baker into the business. She even called her Brittany. She thinks Baker's got all these nicknames as a defense against letting people see who she really is. Baker then told Soho to run away to catering just like she's been the last 4 years. Sick bird right there. That kind of got a ooh from the crowd. Soho told Schiavone, I know she's your girl, but I'm going to whoop her ass. So good between both girls here. I liked it. It wasn't too bad. Then we had Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Dante Martin. Relatively quick match. It went through one commercial break, but it was nothing really much to write home about. I thought Dante Martin looked impressive as usual here. But to me, Hobbs was, I don't know, he looked a little clunky, a little slow. Wasn't really doing it for me. Maybe it was just a bad mix of chemistry with him and Dante. I don't know.
It's always weird when you have these really big muscle-bound guys going against these small, quick guys. And it should be just a squash match.
Mm-hmm. And I get putting Dante, having Dante lose here, setting up Hobbs probably for the eventual Punk stuff. But again, Dante didn't. It's not like you're burying Dante
in this aspect because it's like you are so much stronger than this dude.
Oh well, yeah, maybe. But he used his speed, his agility. You got that whole shtick.
I get that, but that's why it looks so weird because it's like you shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, Hobbs he didn't do it for me in this match, that's for sure. Dante kind of hit a Gaiman Guri, but then Hobbs avoided a springboard. Dante hit a running kick before Hobbs turned the running offense into a spinebuster for the pinfall victory here. Hobbs was definitely knocked loopy at the end there, leading to some miscommunication. So he might have even gotten banged up. I don't know. That may have been part of what made it come off weird. But at the same time, definitely not Hobbs' best showing. So hopefully it'll be better when we get to see him Punk thing if that happens down the line here. Then we had Dan Lambert up in the stands again, much like he was at All Out, flanked by the Men of the Year. No UFC fighters this week, though. He congratulated AEW for bringing in all this new talent, but it's all to avoid the truth, he said, which is that this company has only 2 real men wrestling for it, and that is Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Together, they will scream their truths, so if there are any tough guys who would like to shut them up, they better do so soon. So, typical Dan Lambert.
who these tough guys are going to be.
I don't know. And I don't know where they're going with this, but obviously they're going to get involved with somebody at some point here and furthering something here. But yeah, I think they're just
going to be KO.
Picking their spots. That's a way off before we get to KO, but that would be interesting. Maybe they do it maybe they show up on Smackdown or something. We'll see. Matt Hardy promised to shave Orange Cassidy's hair. Orange Cassidy came back with whatever. So I guess are we getting a hair versus hair match, or at least
I hope not.
It sounds like something's coming around the corner here, so we'll see what happens. I don't think Orange is losing his hair. Maybe Matt Hardy is. Maybe it's a new gimmick of Hardy. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll see. Right now, I'm not too thrilled with it, but we'll see what happens.
I'm not either.
It all depends on the execution, man. We'll see. But
I'm just not into this feud because it
feels like it's run its course.
What's the motive?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they've been. I don't remember what all started it, to be totally honest with you.
It started with the blade.
Yeah, or the brass knuckles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so, again, then Orange beat Matt, so I don't know why we kind of keep doing it. It's something for both guys to do, I suppose. Maybe it furthers Orange Cassidy, but...
Not really. Orange Cassidy was just involved.
I know. It feels like a step back. It does a little bit, but... I get it. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, definitely not their best stuff right here, but we'll see what happens. Then we had MJF come out. This was MJF was on fire here. This was great. He came out flanked by Wardlow. MJF explained that he beat Chris Jericho 3 times. And not only that, MJF didn't come out. Of course, he never comes out smiling. But this is a guy who got beat at the pay-per-view, came out, he was pissed off. Great. That's what you should. If you lose, you shouldn't come out next week twirling your hair like Bianca Belair. You should be upset that you got screwed over. All right, here we go. Even though MJF...
But he didn't get screwed over.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But technically, MJF, in his mind, he got screwed over.
And he lied.
Right. So we'll get into that. MJF explained that he beat Chris Jericho 3 times before Sunday, and then he beat him a 4th time. But after the bell, the match was restarted due to extreme bias against him. Great heel work here by MJF.
Now, he said that he beat him right square in the middle of the ring. I know you didn't.
It was right. Right. Again, playing that heel.
Put his foot over there.
This bias comes from the fact that everyone wants to be him. MJF insulted Cincinnati. He called them Shitcinnati, actually, but this report didn't repeat that here. He brought up Cheap Heat. It's called the Midwest because everything within it is mid. This wasn't a great line, but he kept playing off it a little bit, including the Skyline Chili and the Cincinnati Reds. He dared people to jump the guardrail, but they won't because they're all cowards. Careful with that. Someone did try to jump the guardrail a few weeks back on you, so don't push them, MJF.
He turned Cincinnati, brother. You might want to check it.
Welcome to the jungle, He turned his attention to Aunt Linda at ringside, who raised Brian Pillman in the front row. She was with Pillman's daughter, who MJF also insulted, called her 16 and pregnant at one point even. Brian Pillman Jr.'s music then played, and he came out in a Bengals jersey because Cincinnati is also his hometown. He called... Huh?
I will say this.
Oh.
To MJF's credit, he did not mention his dad.
True. Now his sister was wearing Brian Pillman t-shirt. That's about as close as it got.
But they
did play off of his dad's fame for sure.
Yeah, and I'm glad he didn't.
Right.
Because that's just one of those that's a real cheap heat thing,
and it's a layup to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he didn't go that route.
Yeah, and I would not necessarily cheap heat, but kind of riding the coattails a little bit. And of course, I'm sure his dad wouldn't mind or anything like that. But at the same time, he's making it on his own steam in this case, I think, and that's a good thing. He called He called him Maxwell Jerkoff Friedman, which I thought was a little lame, but okay.
It was.
Pillman knows MJF had a silver spoon upbringing, but Cincinnati breeds badasses like Pillman and John Moxley. MJF may be from Long Island, but Pillman is from the streets of Cincinnati, and he said, "Welcome to the jungle." MJF brought up Pillman's drug-addicted mother. This is where MJF started to go off the rails here.
I was like, bro, you could have pulled that back.
He got real personal right quick.
Yeah.
He called her Methany instead of Melanie. So that right there, brother. Pillman got real hot at this, and he stormed the ring, but Wardlow stood in between him and MJF. MJF suggested that Pillman's mother should have swallowed, brother. He then told Wardlow to go stand in the corner and look pretty because he wasn't much help on Sunday against Jericho, which kind of set Wardlow off a little bit. Didn't do much here, but what the hell? Dude, I'm trying to save your ass here. So again, playing on that stuff that we're eventually going to get here. Wardlow's going to go babyface on MJF sooner rather than later, I think, here. And it's just laying those seeds.
Because, that's what okay, so I heard the Methany part, and I heard the whole, I'm going to do what your mom should have did 20-some years ago, is abort, and then, he got taken down.
Yeah, and again, that kind of played off that whole thing that MJF posted this last week of this little girl wearing a dress that said, "I hate MJF," and she was giving the middle finger to the camera. And MJF reposted the photo and wrote, "Is it too soon to abort?" Again, MJF, I know he's crossing the line, but MJF he's just playing this up in kayfabe. It's doing it in character. I'm sure MJF is not like this in real life. But MJF never breaks character. Some people, I know. It's going to cross a line with a lot of folks, especially in today's society.
You got to think about this. You remember back in the day when Ric Flair and them used to do that shit,
right?
And hell, the Freebirds. You heard about what happened? Like, legitimately,
people thought it was real. Stabbed. Yeah, and that's what MJF's going for here. That's why he's daring people to cross the barricade, but it could be dangerous.
That's like realistically, in this climate, this world we live in right now,
right?
That is not the thing he should be doing.
Let's hope he's got good security. Let's say that, because it's scary. But yeah.
But anyway, so. I was confused because I didn't understand why Wardlow stood in the corner.
It didn't move for a minute.
For a minute.
Yeah, Pillman attacked him and beat him down in the middle of the ring. Wardlow was standing in the corner holding the ropes, not looking. But even then, he kind of turned and looked and didn't do anything for a minute or about a second or two. But then Wardlow did, thought better and then intervened, pulling Pillman off. Pillman escaped briefly to continue the attack. Wardlow gave chase again and killed Pillman with a German suplex. That's when Brian Pillman Jr.'s tag team partner Griff Garrison from the Varsity Blondes ran out, but was immediately crushed by Wardlow.
Ate that clothesline.
Yes, he did. Wardlow propped him up and allowed MJF to strike him with the Dynamite Diamond ring as the segment ended here. So yeah, this looks like it's going to maybe lead to a tag team match possibly. But they did say, I believe, by the end of the show, Brian Pillman Jr. challenged MJF to a singles match, but I don't know when that's going to take place. If it's next week, we may see here this report before it's over.
No, it's in New York.
Is it in New York? Well, it may be. Yeah, I think he did say New York, didn't he? So yeah, so that's probably where it's going to be. So yeah, but good for Brian Pillman Jr. getting a little bit of. I'm sure MJF's going to get his win back from Jericho here on another talent, but.
He ate that clothesline. Like,
yeah, but this is a good feud to play off of. And I like the interplay between the two guys. Brian Pillman's got some spunk, so I want to see them use him a little bit more here. And of course, if they go tag team,
I would love to see more of Brian Pillman's side come out of Junior.
Now,
how he used to get when he used to get really amped up.
Yeah, kind of got
wide
that
eyes,
craziness like his dad used to have.
Yeah, dude.
Now, at the same time here, they've only got a couple weeks to build it because I think that shows what is today's date? The 8th, so it's about 3 weeks away, something like that. So if you do it right, maybe you tease that animosity between Wardlow and MJF for the next 3 weeks, and maybe Wardlow costs MJF the match and give Brian Pillman Jr. the win in New York. That would be good. So maybe you could do it that way, or it's probably going to end up being MJF beating Brian Pillman Jr. here to get his win after losing to Jericho. But we'll see what they do. That could be one way to do it, so we'll see what happens. Next up, we had Ruby Soho making her Dynamite debut, defeating Jamie Hayter here. Some kind of facebuster from Soho got a 2. Hayter overpowered Soho and hit a sliding lariat for 2. Soho hit the wind-up kick, the former Riot kick, out of nowhere for the win. So, yeah, good little bit of a showcase here for Ruby Soho as Britt Baker and Rebel were on at ringside watching this. And, of course, after the match, Britt Baker and Rebel immediately attacked Ruby Soho in the ring. Riho ran out to make the save, but was immediately taken out. And so Chris Statlander had to come out with a chair to chase off all the heels. So we get a 6-woman tag, I'm assuming, here before too long.
That's some Teddy Long shit.
Yeah, making a tag team.
Holla, holla, holla.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes some sense. Maybe you don't do, because we talked when Ruby Soho come in and won the Battle Royal. They're obviously building toward the title match. They've teased it here against Britt Baker. But if maybe you build it slowly with the tag title or the tag team match first, you got Ruby Soho a win tonight, so that's good. Step number 1. They didn't give it to her immediately without getting a win. So that's good. So we'll see if maybe they'll continue to build this slowly and maybe full gear they do Ruby Soho in November. That would be great. If you build it in 2 months, I'm fine with it. They didn't jump right away to it, so we'll see what they do. Brian Cage and Ricky Starks cut a dueling promo. I guess this has still got to continue. Why is this continuing? Especially with, I mean, Starks says he's tired of this. Cage says he wants a one-on-one match. So do it one more time, get it done, get it over with, move on to Punk. That's what you need to do. Get Brian Cage out of there. So we'll see what happens. Earlier today,
what do you do with Cage after that?
I don't know. I mean, you could always have him go against Miro or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
You can't keep feeding people to Miro either.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're going to run to the same situation you are with fucking SmackDown has with Roman.
Hey, who's to say Eddie Kingston doesn't beat Miro? I mean, that could be a thing, but
that's fucking crazy.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know, but I'm sure they'll have to come up with something for Brian Cage. But Stark seems to be going down the Punk route, so we'll see what happens. Earlier today, the Dark Order were asked about their problems. Uno said they were fine, but Angels got hot. Anna Jay walked up and told everybody to act like a team. So this is played into the following match with the Pinnacle. Apparently, the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle are still a thing. They're just not, as highlighted as they were before. So there is that. Let's keep that in mind. The Pinnacle, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler. Luckily, thank goodness, FTR are still wrestling. So apparently, that thing before was kayfabe. Thank goodness, because we don't want to see them break up at all due to the injury to Cash Wheeler. They teamed up with Shawn Spears to go against the Dark Order with Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and John Silver here. The long and short of this is the Dark Order couldn't stay on the same page. They couldn't get along. So the heels here with the Pinnacle took advantage and get the relatively quick win here in a 6-man tag. And of course, they ducked out after they won, and the Dark Order basically come to blows here. They literally start fighting and shoving and throwing some stuff at each other. And of course, the two ladies, Anna Jay and who's the other one? I can't remember here. The other girl from the group walked up and was kind of like, what are you guys doing? You can't get along, So again, I don't know where this is going. Part of me wonders if maybe Bray Wyatt comes in here and settles things down and gets things back to the way they once were with Brody Lee. We'll see. I don't know, but definitely some animosity. Or maybe Adam Page comes back and settles all this. I don't know. But right now, the Dark Order is in complete disarray at this point. We got a series of quick promos with women in the Casino Battle Royale. Tully Blanchard was backstage. He said everyone just saw an example of leadership out of the ring. He wants Tony Khan to book Darby Allin versus Shawn Spears next week, and at some point it will be Tully versus Sting one more time. So I don't know if we need to see that match. Face-to-face on the outside of this match, okay, fine, but not necessarily in the ring.
I don't want to see you in the ring.
If it is, it better be handled easily and quickly. We don't want either guy, especially Tully, to get hurt here, but Tully's been physical at times on the outside of the ring with FTR, so we'll see. But Darby versus Shawn, I'm sure Darby, again, kind of like the MJF situation, Darby's likely to get his win after losing to Punk to kind of help get Darby back on track.
But you can't keep doing that either.
I know, but that's probably what they're doing. But I agree with you.
Weird-ass 50-50s at this point.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to...
Not against the actual opponent, but it's somebody else.
Right. Well, yeah, at least there is that. At least it's not against the same guy they lost to. But, yeah, I agree with you. I'd love to see them do more with Shawn Spears, too. At least he gets the win tonight, though, so that's good. Yeah. I want to say he might have even got the pinfall in the 6-man. So,
no, I think it was...
I don't remember. But anyhow...
The Dash or
maybe. But even so, he was on the winning side. So that's good, at least. But, yeah, I'd like to see him do more with Shawn. So, at least he's getting a one-on match against one of their top stars. So, that'll be fine. But, yeah, we'll see how they do the finish. Sammy Guevara did his side gimmick through the picture-in-picture break, which, again, again confirmed that the Inner Circle are still in there and together. So, that's good because they were included one of the cards. He basically talking about his... what was it? It's whatever his social media is. He's got all the views and stuff on. So his blog or vlog, as it were. So he's promoting that. The Varsity Blondes were interviewed about their brawl earlier tonight backstage. Pillman decided to challenge MJF to a match that will happen in 2 weeks. Well, I guess that shows in 2 weeks then. It feels like let's see, the 8th. I guess it would be 2 weeks until the New York show. So they got as long as I thought they did. The Acclaim walked up, and Caster revealed he has a match with Pillman on this Friday's Smackdown. Smackdown, Rampage. So yeah, we'll have that along with the Pocket Andrade match on this week's Rampage. This next segment was gold. I loved this. The entire Elite came out without Adam Cole to start. Tony Schiavone was in the ring to interview the Elite, and Callis immediately took the microphone from Schiavone, which when they did, Schiavone kept talking to his hand like it kind of walked into the ring like, crap, they took my mic again. Callis brought up that Kenny Omega won the top spot in the PWI Pro Wrestling Illustrated 500, which apparently set off tons of fans online. They were pissed that Roman Reigns was not number one instead of Kenny Omega. But again, that's a debate you can have amongst yourself online. We're not going to get into that here. Who cares? It's not really.
For me, it's 1A and 1B.
It is really. I like both guys. They're both doing great work.
Yeah, I was about to say, because if comparatively, especially heel work between the two, 1A, 1B for me, I could have just put them both in there.
The biggest difference to me, if you want to talk about it a little bit here, I guess, Kenny Omega has wrestled more this year than Roman has. But again, Roman's doing great work. Nothing against him at all. So again, it's kind of your preference at this point. So there's that. So All Out was about the Elite, they said. Nick brought out Adam Cole, who made his entrance, which, by the way, Nick Jackson wearing this earring thing that was attached to his nose with this long chain. It was weird, dude.
Listen, dude.
I know.
One of them had on a fucking romper.
I know. It's the Bucks. Let's move on.
No matter what I say, I'm going to sound like I'm a hater.
Yeah.
It's not it. I'm just over it.
It's weird. It's out there. Hey, at least they don't have the belts anymore. Baby steps, brother. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Adam Cole did come out. He started off by looking Tony Schiavone straight in the eyes. And I thought this was great. Playing off this entire stuff with Britt Baker. He said, if you even look at Brick the wrong way, I will slap those glasses off your face and whoop your ass. He told that nerd Schiavone to get out of his ring right now. So he apparently did not take too kindly that he'd been kind of chumming up to his girlfriend, Britt Baker here.
Here's the thing. If we're going to give the Good Brothers shit, when they kept calling everybody nerds, that I'm going to give
nerd
Adam Cole shit for calling Schiavone a nerd.
I never did. That was your thing. I love this.
I was like, brother.
This was great to me. Adam Cole. It was just
Adam Cole. He sounds like a high school bully. You just can't call a grown man a nerd.
Not only that, you make it look like Britt Baker's with the douchebag from high school. So, I mean, I guess in storyline she kind of is. But then again, she's supposed to be a heel too, even though everybody loves her. So there's that. Adam Cole called AEW the greatest pro wrestling company in the entire world, and it's thanks to the Elite. And he's not wrong about that. For everybody who loves AEW now, again, the Elite is kind of the one who started this thing with Tony Khan. So he has a point. Cole may be new to AEW, but he's been in the Elite for a very long time, and that is true as well. He is a once-in-a-generation professional wrestler, and he's with the very best. The fans should be thanking them because now the Elite is complete. So as we've always known in his times in NXT, Adam Cole cuts one hell of a promo. And if you've not seen him wrestle in AEW, obviously not yet in AEW, Adam Cole's a hell of a wrestler too. So
Going to be a swerve.
Going to be a swerve, you think? He's going to turn on the Elite, you think? Really? A double swerve? Kind of like they already pulled one little swerve at All Out.
No, they'll give you this moment where you're like, oh, it's all. No. I fully believe it may not be tomorrow or anything like that.
He's eventually going to want the title from Kitty, if Kitty still has it. But I think eventually it'll be Adam Page, but maybe he goes after Page. But eventually Adam Cole's going to want that title. There's no doubt in my mind. Again, build to it slowly. I'm fine with that. But right now, I think it's good.
Dude, I know how this Bullet Club thing works.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dog-eat-dog world.
Yeah.
It sounds great now.
Yeah, it is. So now he said the Elite is complete. Next week, Cole will make his in-ring debut against Frankie Kazarian, which they announced after the scrum. Everyone will see how elite he really is. Omega said, that sounds like cause for a celebration, but he hates interruptions. So right on cue, Bryan Danielson interrupts him again, like he did at the pay-per-view here. He come out to Flight of the Valkyrie. Yeah, right through it. Yeah, at first. Omega cut Danielson off before he could start, but to Bryan Danielson's credit, he gets right into the ring here with all these guys from the Elite standing there. So lots of cojones on Bryan Danielson here. That's when Kenny Omega sent away the rest of the Elite. He said he wanted it to himself here, one-on-one with Bryan Danielson. Of course, they stayed at ringside, but Danielson snatched the microphone away from Kenny Omega and asked the fans if they wanted to see Bryan Danielson fight Kenny Omega. This is very WWE-esque here. Like, I want to just come up here and challenge you and give me a title match. But to their credit, though, Bryan Danielson, I guess Kenny started talking to him without the mic, and Bryan Danielson said, Kenny just said that that's not how we do things here. Kudos to them for acknowledging the fact to all the people who say, oh, Bryan Danielson shouldn't challenge for the title right away. I said that too. So it sounds like they're not going to go that route. They're aware.
For the title, or
he was kind of saying, I want a match. If they do it just a match, I'm fine with it, I guess. But then if Kenny loses,
for his title.
I don't want to see that either, though, because if he does that with Kenny non-title and Kenny loses, you're beating your champion. I don't want to see that either. So I would rather they slow build this. Maybe Kenny loses the belt to Adam first, and then you do Bryan Danielson and Kenny. I think that's what you should do. And play off the baby faces versus heels, but we'll get it in a second. He said Omega talks about being the best wrestler in the world, but he's afraid of Danielson. Omega isn't on his level. Which, by the way, this is going to be absolutely incredible when it does happen. These two guys are going to steal the show. Bryan Danielson stopped an attack and locked on the LaBelle Lock. I guess we're not calling it the Yes Lock now, so the LaBelle Lock is what it's back to being called here. So that's when the Elite jumped in and tried to save Kitty. Kitty did tap out, by the way, real fast. So there's that. But then Christian Cage, Frankie Kazarian, and the Jurassic Express came out to make the save. Luchasaurus press Marco Stunt onto the pile on the outside, and Jungle Boy hit a huge dive. They all cornered Brandon Cutler in the ring. That led to a giant crowd chant that said, "You fucked up. You know."
what they were saying, why they were saying you fucked up is because Kazarian fucked up a spot.
Oh, I thought it was because Brandon Cutler was in the middle of the ring. Okay.
Kazarian fucked up a spot right before that.
Was it the kick on Adam Cole?
Yeah.
Because I know that was the kind of what set up the match for next week. So, okay. I didn't quite catch that.
Kick on Adam Cole.
Okay.
I don't know if he was supposed to super kick him, but he ended up turning it into one of these like weird, like scissor kick situation. It was weird.
It looked like he tried to hit him on the way in, and Adam Cole fell into the ring at the time too. So it was a little awkward, but
it made it seem like when they started Cutler. Saying you fucked up, because Cutler
rolled in
the middle of them.
So that's what I thought.
Acknowledged it.
Yeah, so lucky for them, it worked out. They all covered him in the corner, who fell victim to Bryan Danielson's running knee, and Danielson posed at the segment. This was absolutely great. I can't wait to see Danielson against Omega, but book it properly. Don't rush him into a title match, and I'll be perfectly fine with it. Much like the Ruby Soho thing, they're doing that properly. And since they acknowledge the fact that this isn't like another company, which they didn't say WWE, but they kind of said this is not how we do things here. So I'm glad they acknowledged it. I think they're self-aware, so we'll see what happens. Then they ran down the lineup for Rampage, which again looks pretty stacked here. Oh, I guess that's where we're going to get the 6-woman tag between the Heels and Ruby Soho, Statlander, and Riho. So we're doing that. We're getting Darby and Sting cutting a promo, Pac and Andrade, and Brian Pillman Jr. versus Matt Caster. Dynamite next week, Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian, Jade Cargill versus Layla Hirsch, and Darby Allin versus Shawn Spears. And, of course, so far, the Grand Slam show in 2 weeks, Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black, and MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. So that's off to a good start. Then we had the main event here. Jon Moxley in his hometown of Cincinnati versus the New Japan star Minoru Suzuki here. This was everything you expected to be. Forearm shots, brutality. Minoru Suzuki, I think, on a DDT at some point in the match, or something, smashed his face on the mat. Was it the headbutt that busted his eyes open? Yeah, there was a bunch of stiff headbutt shots. They both headbutt each other at one point at the same time. This was rough.
Was it?
I don't know. It was around that time, so it very well could have been.
Around that time, because it was a couple more punches thrown, and then it was right before he hit the DDT. I was like, is somebody bleeding?
Yeah.
And then it was after he hit the DDT, you saw it, and I was like...
It was right from his eye area there, right in the face. It looked like he had almost like red face paint around his eyes.
Right over his
eyebrow. He even took the blood at one point, smeared it, and then wiped it on his tongue. So I was like, you sick... it's like this was...
You want Corona? That's how you get it.
Well, it was his own blood, but there's probably sweat from Moxley all over the place too. But this was definitely brutal.
I don't give a shit what nobody says. You want to talk about a tough... Terry Funk? It's a tough old man.
Yeah.
Minoru Suzuki is a tough, crazy old bastard.
Yeah, I think JR said he had, a 33-year career at this point? So the dude's been through it, and I'm surprised.
How many matches they said he had, but it's over 1,000.
I think he said over 2,000, I thought, exactly. But even so, just think about that. The guy, 33 years of his career, if he's doing matches like this his entire career, it's amazing he's still walking.
You got to think about the strong style in Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what he does.
This was probably on the lighter end of that here in AEW.
Yeah, they even mentioned Suzuki-gun,
and
the fact that Archer is a part of Suzuki-gun.
Yeah. I mean, this is basically everything you expected from these two wrestling. Jon Moxley is basically wrestling the New Japan style in AEW. Now that's kind of his thing, which he's always been the lunatic. Not to steal something from WWE, but that style of smash mouth, hard hitting, and all that sort of stuff. And this was everything involving that here. Suzuki did end up locking a sleeper on Moxley, but Moxley escaped and hit a series of punches. These punches straight to the face, by the way, look like all of every bit of it connected.
Did you see the open palm strikes that Suzuki throws?
Yeah, those two. Yeah,
he was tagging Moxley
right in the face. Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, brother, this is awful when it comes to physicality. Good match, absolutely, but awful when it comes to the pain. A very high angle paradigm shift followed for the win here. Looked like Moxley actually gave him like a pump handle suplex more than it was a pile or a DDT, but Moxley gets the win here as he celebrates with the fans in his hometown. The hometown guy gets a win here. Novel concept, I know. Some companies don't pull that trigger, but AEW left their fans and let them go home happy here. So
I don't think these fans would have cared.
Well, maybe not. They were definitely into Suzuki too. They respected Suzuki.
How nuts they went when Suzuki's music hit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think if they had to make a choice, it would be Moxley. But yes, I mean, they respected the hell out of him. Yeah, it would have been fine probably, but I think they made the right call with Moxley going over for sure.
And here's the thing: so if you watch the match when Moxley had at All Out with I feel bad because I can't remember his name.
At All Out, Kojima.
Who was it?
Satoshi Kojima.
Kojima, that's who it was.
Yep.
He bows to him at the end of that match.
Yeah, he does. Yep.
After the match he had with Minoru Suzuki, he flipped him off.
Yeah, and then he rolled out and went to the crowd. Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, again, it plays up to Suzuki's character and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Being that.
Yeah, he's not the one for respect.
No, but yeah, this was great. Where Moxley goes from here, don't know. Probably we could still get more New Japan guys, or Moxley may move on to something else. I know Moxley's got that match with Nick Gage and GCW right now. That may be a thing, and that's one of the good things about AEW. Yes, they've got a lot of talent, but at the same time, their talent also wrestles in other locations, so they always have something to do, even if they're not featured on AEW every single week. So
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Just to give you a taste of how tough this old fucknut is, he got his face split open.
Yeah.
Yelled, and then still continued to get punched.
Yeah.
Yelled some more. Ate some clotheslines. Yelled some more.
He's a crazy old man. Middle-aged. Oh, I wouldn't say middle-aged and crazy, but old-aged and crazy is Minoru Suzuki.
He is a tough old
He's tough.
man.
He reminds me of Terry Funk, New Japan's Terry Funk a little bit.
And I fucking love him.
Yeah, he's great. So it was good to see him here.
I marked out so hard when he showed up.
Yeah, big time fan. And we've seen some of his New Japan matches, absolutely brutal. Definitely, if you're not seeing a lot of his New Japan stuff, go check it out. But it was good to see, and I'm glad that AEW occasionally has these guys that most American audiences don't sometimes get to see. They bring them in and say, hey, there's more out there than what you've been led to believe here in the States. So check out these other organizations and things like that too. They've got some good stuff. So with that being said, it's getting kind of late here. We're going to end the stream. We're almost 2 hours in. But the real question here is, guys, what do you guys think about our pro wrestling recap for this week? Tell us your thoughts about SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and AEW Dynamite. Next week, we'll have a full slate of shows with Rampage included. So definitely tune in and check us out for that. We might even have a special wrestling show that may go up Friday morning. If Brandon's up for it, our friend Fun Facts and Wrestling Trivia Guru Mike has talked like he might be able to come on the show next week, and maybe we'll put up an episode on Friday. We'll probably still do our regular Wrestling Pro recap on Thursday morning, but we might have Mike on Friday morning. Maybe he could give us his thoughts on NXT. We might review his Jerry the King Lawler heel turn stuff that Mike wanted us to get into. Maybe we'll talk that with Mike, things like that. So we'll see. We might have a special show for you guys next week. But until then, hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. And until our next video, guys, take care.
Later.
Later.
We got to turn you on.